Hello, everybody. We should be live. We are live. Welcome back to Saturday Live. Anybody that's out there in Saturday Day Live land, whether you're watching us on the Hedgehog Action YouTube channel or through the Dork Lair Collectors Group. Again, thank you very much to Dork Lair for letting us broadcast in the group, or if you're catching us on replay. My name is Jonathan. I am Hedgehog Action. I'm here with my good friends, Ryan and Amber. How you doing, guys?
Hello.
And our good buddy, Eric LeBron. How you doing, Eric?
What's up, everybody?
So yeah, we just wanted to hang out and talk some toys today on a New Year's Eve. I keep forgetting that it's New Year's Eve right now.
Yeah, happy New Year's Eve, everybody. It's awesome. Here we go. 2023.
Cheers. So did first off, just to wrap up, we had a Christmas last weekend, a lot of gatherings and stuff like that. Did you guys give or receive any toy or toy related gifts for the holidays that you wanted to talk about?
No, my family's boring. They don't give toys. my kid's older, so he just wants video games and gift cards and yeah, my wife she will not support my toy collecting habit, so I get no toys. I get a bag of coal for Christmas. She actually. I'll say this. She did get me something pretty cool. She actually got me an air cleaner, like an air purifier for my room. So this will help out with the dust maintenance in my room. So that'll be a big help. So at least she got me something for my room. So I'm pretty stoked about that. But yeah, no toys, man.
What kind of? I think I asked you this before, but I don't remember. What kind of gamer is your son? Is he a PC guy, PlayStation? Like, what is he?
No,
do?
he's a console guy. He doesn't have any. He doesn't have. Well, he has a like a Mac, but he doesn't have any computer games. You don't do games on Macs, but he does all the retro systems. Everything from the oldest ones, the NESs to the Super NESs to Segas to the Xbox to GameCube. I mean, you name it. Anything under the sun that's is some type of gaming system. He's got every single one of the PlayStations from 1 all the way through 5, and I mean, yeah. And he buys games all and trades games all over the place. I mean, it's like his whole life is what he does. Yeah,
that's awesome. And I didn't know until it was a few years ago that it dawned on me that the retro games are so big and so expensive. It's kind of cool. That's one of the things that, Ryan and Amber, you've seen me at the cons with either my son or my daughter. And my son, who's my 11-year-old now, he's mainly like a Nintendo kid, although Santa did bring him a PC gaming laptop for Christmas.
Nice.
Oh,
such a kid, man. He does good in school and everything. And my kids do the Christmas list, right? So Santa has an idea of what they might like if they're really good that year.
Yeah, that's always nice.
My daughter's list is like 2 pages long. But then Chase's was like, he asked for like a PC computer, a gaming computer, and then like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and that was it. And then he took the computer off because he felt like that was asking for too much. So he just had the Pokemon and Violet Nintendo game, and then a Pokemon origami book, and he ended up getting both of those. But he got the gaming computer. Nice. But the cool thing is, like when I bring him to cons, that's kind of like what he's into. Like he's looking for the booths that have different, like any kind of games and stuff like that. So he has a thing that he's sort of hunting for, like when we go together.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice. Very cool.
How about Ryan and Amber? How about you guys? Any toy or toy related items, or just anything that you wanted to mention as far as holiday gift giving?
Well, she got me some NECA Predators.
Nice.
The Warrior.
Oh, sweet, dude.
I didn't take out the axe. I left that in there. And then we just happened to be at a Walmart that never has anything, and found the Shaman.
Oh, very cool.
And then she nudged her parents into that direction. They got me a $100 Store Horseman gift card.
What? Nice, dude. Sweet.
Oh, I appreciate the hell out of everybody.
Oh, that's awesome.
Good, Amber.
Yeah.
For
Good
you,
on you, Amber.
I tried really hard.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
setting up the dominoes. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Well, well, as you might have seen, I posted. My wife got me a personalized box cutter. It has a wooden handle and says Hedgehog Action on it.
Oh,
That's sweet.
nice.
One thing that she gets on my case about is, like a lot of us, I have a bunch of boxes that show up all the time, and I'm always open them up, all over the place or whatever. And I'm normally just grabbing a kitchen knife to open it up, or I'll use my keys or whatever. So then sometimes there'll just be like a random knife sitting on a shelf, like in a random place. Now I have official box cutter with my name on it, so I'm pumped about that.
Nice.
And then as far as toy gifts go, I think she was probably going to run back out at the end of last week, probably, and grab me something, because I will say that I guess it was 2 years ago. She told me, she's like, don't tell me any action figures that you want for Christmas. Don't say anything or whatever. And she ended up going out to like a bunch of different places and buying just like a whole bunch of different figures that nothing that I asked for, but it's just like what she thought I might like. You know what I mean? And like it was just cool to like go through this bag of figures that was like she personally curated. And again, she doesn't like action figures at all. She doesn't, but she kind of like went on like what she thought I would like. And I got a bunch of awesome stuff. Like I got like the Haya glow in the dark RoboCop. She got the carbonized Black Series Boba Fett, which I love. I'm a sucker for some of that, not all of it, but some of that carbonized stuff, the metallic stuff. I dug it. But this year I was like, don't worry about it, because I had so many pre-orders hitting, like we talked about before. Just in November and December, I had so much stuff show up, and then I went ham on a couple of the Black Friday sales. So I literally have like a couple of cardboard boxes sitting in the garage full of stuff, and I'm like, dude, if you just want to wrap some of that stuff and hand it to me, that would.
That's awesome.
And then, of course, we all got our Father Christmases. So
Nice.
I'm having some coffee out of my mug right now.
Nice.
Okay, so outside of Christmas gifts or holiday gifts, any recent pickups outside of that you wanted to mention? I know, Eric. As a matter of fact, Eric, I know you were doing some work in your in your space there. I don't know if you had any other than the air purifier, anything else that you got that's part of that whole process.
No, actually, I just it's kind of every year you kind of like look at what's gone on throughout the year, and you start not so much making your resolutions, but kind of planning and getting prepped for the new year to come. And one of my big things for 2023 is I'm actually really putting the brakes on purchases. So it's going to be a lot about kind of redoing the room, scaling back on the collection, kind of redefining what my collection's all about here, and jumping in more to like the displays, the dioramas, stuff like that. I know we had talked about it on the previous show. I have a huge backlog of like model kits that I want to jump into. So it's stuff like that I've been putting off for the past couple of years, because I've just been going so hot and heavy, especially with Mythics, which is basically my main line that I collect now. I mean, everything else I've almost slowed down to just pretty much a crawl. I've cherry picked a couple of things here and there, just little things here and there that I've seen on different lines, but for the most part, like I said, 2023 is going to be a real slow year for purchases for me. I mean, I do still have tons of pre-orders out, especially which is one of the things I'm most excited about is Cosmic Legions. So I have tons of pre-orders, riding on that already. So I'm already going to get a bunch of new stuff. I mean, it's already a given, but a lot of the new waves, I'm actually passing on the pre-orders, and it's like I said, it's only just to kind of rewind it all back and start from scratch again. You know, get caught up on the credit card debt and stuff like that. And I got a lot of big plans for 2023, especially I got a huge trip that I'm going to take to. I'm going to Paris and Italy with my mom and my brother in 2023. So that's going to be a huge undertaking. So it's kind of like one of those things that I gotta, like I said, not just mentally prep for, but financially prep for as well. So, you know, but like I said, I mean, obviously you can see I got plenty to keep me busy for a long time, and I got plenty of work to do in this room. And I got to empty all my detolfs, and I'm selling those, and I'm replacing them with, you know, brand new shelving units that I'm going to bring into the room. And you can see I'm on this side, I'm putting up those new shelves. And, you know, like I said, I got plenty to keep me happy with throughout the year. So it's not going to be a big loss to me. I mean, like I said, I'm, you know, when you're completely surrounded by toys 24/7, I mean, it's it's kind of hard for us to be like, oh, I don't have anything new. You know what I mean? So just appreciating what I have right now and working with that.
Those shelves look good, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
All right, hold up. Sorry, I accidentally turned down my sound. If I was weird for a second.
No, no worries.
First of all, that trip sounds awesome, man. When do you think you might be taking that, or do you not know yet?
We're actually going to take it probably in the later half of June.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. We're actually waiting for my son's going to graduate in this coming June from high school, so we're waiting for him to graduate, and then we're saying adios to him, and we're taking off to to Italy and Paris. Yeah.
First of all, real quick, I wanted to say hi to a couple people in our little chat here. Walter the Mad joining us. I think the first time.
Walter.
What's up, Walt?
Walter.
NYC Figure Fanatic. What's happening? Kevin Boots. What's happening, man?
Boots. What's up?
Trevor 1-6 shooter. God, man. I feel like it's like we're almost having like a Legions Con reunion here, man. Every time we do this reunion.
I quick screenshot and I put it in the Cabal. I told everybody to come hang out.
Oh, thanks, man. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of us might have a little downtime on a New Year's Eve to come chill and hang out a little bit. Walt says he wants to go to Italy too.
Yeah.
I've been to Italy one time. That's where my wife and I went for our honeymoon. We went to Positano and Sorrento, and freaking just amazing.
Yeah.
Of all the places that I've been, best food was in Italy, 100%.
Nice. Yeah. We're gonna go to. I think our plan. Well, I know our plans are. We're going to Rome. Other than Rome, I'm not sure where else we're gonna head to, but I know for sure we're doing Rome 100%. But we're planning on doing at least a couple of weeks in Paris, and then a couple of weeks in Italy. So
this is a real trip. This is like
this is gonna be like at least minimum like 3 to 4 weeks out there. So
that's killer, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, well, my mom's getting to the she's getting a little bit older, and she's kind of at that point in her life where she's like, you know what, all I want to do is just make sure that we travel together as much as we can and go see as many cool things as we can. I mean, we've always traveled as a family, so it's like we've been to a bunch of different places. So my mom's just like, you know what, I'm at certain points of the year, every year, she's like, we're just gonna plan a big trip and go do our thing, and just hang out together. And like I said, it's just one of those things that we could always remember, you know what I mean? And get some good trips in, while we're at it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Do either of you watch White Lotus?
No,
I do not.
It's a show on HBO. It was on the first season. I forget where. I think it was in Hawaii. And then the second season, it was in Italy, dude. The shots of Italy, I forget where they filmed it, dude. It was beautiful.
Sorry, you guys keep going. I'm trying to steal some photos.
Yeah, I can't freaking wait, dude. Like I said, we've done a lot of cool trips, but this is definitely going to be one of the coolest that I can imagine us doing. This will be, my mom and my brother have been to Europe a few times, but this will be my first time going across the pond like this. So but yeah, we like I said, we've done all kinds of trips from, gone to New York together a bunch of times. We just recently last year we went, or was, yeah, I think it was last year. My mom and my brother, we did a big trip out to Washington D.C. and went to all like the memorials and monuments and stuff like that, and that was a cool trip. So just stuff like that. That, like I said, that nothing in this world can be replaced by the memories and the good times that we've had on those trips. And like I said, I love traveling with my mom. My dad doesn't usually go with us. He'll go if it's like some a beach resort or something like that, something where he can go like scuba diving and stuff. So me and him will do that kind of thing. But when it's like big trips like that, a lot of city walking and stuff like that, he's like, you guys go ahead. So me and my brother, we jump on and we're just like, yeah, let's roll. So yeah, we always have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I can't agree with you more about like the idea of it being like an experience. Like experience like matters like so much more than pretty much anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even like we talk about like legions and stuff all the time, and the figures, we always, how often do we say it, that the figures are awesome and they're like our hobby and everything, but the best thing about it is like the people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like with stuff like that, a lot of people want to, and I get it, they want to experience it through the lenses and like take a lot of pictures, but it's not even really about that. Like you're going to have those memories outside of the camera. Like even if you don't document it, you're always going to remember that it was a fantastic trip anyway.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I have been to Paris. So my kids, since my kids were born, they've had the opportunity to travel a lot in the U.S. But we haven't really taken them abroad yet. But before we had kids, I did have the opportunity to go to some cool places, and largely it was because of like family for the most part. Like Italy, it was our honeymoon, so that was awesome. But we had, like, for one thing, my sister-in-law, because of the nature of work that she had, we ended up being able to go to. She was working on a thing in Barcelona, Spain. So I proposed to my wife in Barcelona, and that was amazing.
Nice.
And then she was working on a different project in India, and I'm part Indian. I had never been to India, so we had a chance to go to India as well. And on the way there, we did a layover in Paris. So we spent like a full day and night in Paris on the Champs-Élysées, and it was like, and I wasn't even like that pumped up to like go to like Paris. Like I'm cool to experience anything new like that, but it wasn't like, that's not like wasn't like on a bucket list for me, but like it was freaking pretty cool, man. Like we went to the Louvre, we went to the Eiffel Tower, we did all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome. New Jersey is a really cool place to go.
Yeah, man.
I actually haven't been out to California in a long time. I've been to California just a couple of times. I've loved it every time. A buddy of mine got married out there. We visited my family out there one time. I've been to Disneyland out there one time, but it's been a long time. And I think maybe it was with you guys. I was just mentioning it just recently. Like, there's one thing about California, man. I remember I was flying out there for one of those family things, and like it was just a crappy flight. Like it was just like, and I don't really enjoy it. Like I fly, like it doesn't stop me, but I don't really enjoy the process that much.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those crappy flights where it's just annoying and blah blah blah. But then like you get there, and I walked out of the airport, and there's freaking like palm trees, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Be mad now? Like,
yeah.
Especially lately, did you see that whole debacle with Southwest canceling basically all of their flights?
That's crazy, bro. I don't get it. What was that about? Because I didn't follow that. But what was it about?
I'm not even.
They were doing an update. I haven't followed it too closely. It was just on like as background noise. They were doing like an update on their system. I could be wrong and just talking out of my ass basically. But it messed up something with the way the flights were booked. I'm not sure.
I bet you there was a bunch.
Before I dig myself a hole.
I bet you there was a bunch of pissed off people connected to all that mess, man. That's crazy.
I can't imagine the amount of claims they got just from this past weekend.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Yes.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I wasn't really following it either. I was just kind of like, we were just trying to get through we were trying to get through our COVID Christmas over here.
Yeah.
So I started hearing about like all the flights problems, and I thought it was just regular like holiday flights.
Same.
And I'm sure that was part of it, but then I heard more and more about the Southwest stuff. I saw like just like big giant rooms filled with like baggage where they're like, all right, good luck, guys. You're not going anywhere now. So,
Michael, what's going on, man?
what's up, Michael Casper?
Casper, what's up, dude?
Hey, Mike.
Yes. Speaking of enjoyable times at the airports, man, my return home from New Jersey at the Jersey Airport security checkpoint, dude, that was like almost 3 straight hours waiting in line for that BS, dude. Oh my God, I was so over that place. Yeah, they just had the worst. I mean, it was just a snail's crawl would have been a marathon compared to what they were doing over there. It was just like, what the hell is going on, man? It was like, wow, I couldn't believe how slow that process was.
Were you out of Newark?
Yeah, I flew out of Newark. Yeah, jeez Louise.
That sucks, man. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
No, it is what it is. But damn, it was like that's usually why I go to the airports like 5 hours before my flight, because of stuff like that. You just never know.
The couple times I flew out of Philadelphia, I arrived way early just because I didn't want to miss.
Yeah.
With all that tied up.
Yeah. Well, actually, I had an issue. I mean, it's funny. I've flown, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, 25, 30 times out of airports, from different places and locations and stuff like that. And I've never in my life had a problem, never missed a flight, never, had any issues or whatever. I mean, connections and layovers, wait times and stuff like that. But that's just a given. But one time I went to, where did we go? Oh, I went with my wife. We have a friend who's a police officer up in Seattle, and he invited us to come up for a weekend and spend time with him and his lady, and he was going to show us around Seattle and stuff like that. So we were like, yeah, let's go. So we jumped on a flight to go up there. We got to the airport. I don't know. It must have been maybe like an hour and a half pre-flight, and we walked in and checked in and went to the counters and stuff like that, and they wouldn't let us on our flight because they told us we had to be there 2 hours prior to our flight time. So we actually had to make we actually had to pay to get on another flight like 2.5 or 3 hours later than our scheduled flight time, because we showed up and it was like literally it was like an hour and 45 minutes as opposed to 2 hours. I was like, what's the difference? I had never had that happen to me. I was so freaking pissed off. I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, what's the deal? And it wasn't like it was busy or anything. It was like a morning flight. It was like the airport was like pretty much empty, like our local airport here close to us, which is Ontario. And it was just like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean we can't get on our flight? Like, I had never in my life experienced that. And that was just like a few years ago this happened. So ever since then, now, I mean, I've always been on time, but now I show up like I said, like at least like 4 or 5 hours before my scheduled flight time, because I'm like, that's never going to happen again. I was like, I can't believe that I went through that.
So did they like honor like the previous ticket that you paid for, or did you have to pay for a whole separate ticket and they didn't reimburse you? Or
no, they honored the ticket, but we actually had to pay like some kind of fee. Like it was like it cost us like, I don't know, like $150 or something for like another fee to get onto another flight. It was just it was completely ridiculous to like I said, I didn't understand. I was just like, what, but then like I said, you can't sit there and make a fuss at the airport, because I mean, as soon as you start barking, I mean, here comes security and the police, and you know what I mean? It's just like, you have to sit there and like bite your lip. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my God, like really, like, I can't believe this is happening. But anyways, you know, we made our flight up to Seattle and we had a great time. And like you said, screw everything else. The memories were freaking awesome. And it was an awesome trip.
Yeah, the first time I missed a flight, it was something similar like that, and I had never missed a flight, and like we used to like, and Newark is sort of like my home airport, like, and I've like we've been running late before and made it like just barely got on the flight and everything, and I was like, how do you miss a flight, you know? But it was Philly the first time. And I don't think it was 2 hours. I think it was like you had to be there like had to get to the gate at least, was it 45 minutes or an hour beforehand? And we were there like well before like it left or whatever. And they're like, oh, you know, you might get bumped now because you weren't here like before, you know, whatever the timing was. And we like, waited, and they wouldn't let us get on the flight.
No, that's weak.
But I actually missed a flight one time, and it was actually kind of cool. It was this was 2012, I want to say. We were going to Florida, me and a bunch of buddies, for one of our friends was having his bachelor party down in Miami. And I was late because I left and I forgot like these concert tickets at home. Had to come home, get the tickets, get all the way to the airport, got all the way to the gate. And I was still there like, you know, 20 minutes before the flight left or 15 minutes before the flight left, but it had closed, right? And they were like, oh, we're sorry. And I'm like, oh, but the plane didn't even leave yet. Can you please let me on? And they're like, no. I'm like, damn it. And I was like, and I think my wife had dropped me off. So it's like not even like she's dropping me off so I can have a guy's trip in Miami. You know what I mean? I got to figure this shit out myself.
Yeah.
So they ended up getting me on like whatever, like a flight later that day. And it turns out they get me on a flight. And one of my best friends that's going on the trip with me is on the same flight, and they sat us next to each other.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. What's up, Len?
What's up, Len?
Len.
Hey, Len.
I don't know if you guys can tell, but she's really nervous.
Who, Amber?
I'm just awkward.
Yeah.
What are you nervous for, Amber?
I told you.
Listen, we're the last people you need to be nervous around.
Exactly. Damn, and Ryan even busted out a mic for you. Man, I'm kind of mad that I haven't gotten my mic yet.
Yeah, Eric has a new mic. You haven't gotten that thing set up yet?
No, I haven't gotten it yet. It's supposed to come today.
Oh,
it's actually supposed to get delivered today. So hopefully that'll. Yeah,
Hey.
I'm stepping up to the professional level.
Walter's nervous too.
Here, so you guys keep going. I'm grabbing some stuff here. I kind of wanted to throw up there. And
I'm kind of missing out on the conversation we were supposed to have last week, and I was still thinking about it, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of go back on and ask you guys some of the things we were talking about. We were looking at going into some top fives.
Yeah.
And one of them, which was one of the things that I know I made a list of, and I was like, oh, I definitely want to see what everybody else's take is. Was what's everybody's top five Christmas movies? And you can't use, well, that was one of my things. You can't use Die Hard.
Yeah, I don't use Die Hard.
We won't use Die Hard, even though we agree. Everyone agrees it is a movie.
I might be in the minority here. I have never seen it.
Really?
You've never seen Die Hard?
None of them.
Amber, what are you doing to your man?
I've been trying to get him to watch it for years.
Dude.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, Die Hard's a great movie, dude.
I can tell you what my favorite is easily.
Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie. Bruce Willis said so from Walt.
Yeah.
So my favorite Christmas movie, holiday movie, is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Nice.
Bar none. We watched it again this year. I'll probably watch it again before the weekend is out. That's my number one favorite, easily.
Nice. That was my number 4 pick for best Christmas movies.
So.
Oh no, I was.
I would have to go to Santa Claus with Tim Allen because that's my favorite.
Nice,
cool.
Nice. That's a cool one. Yeah.
probably Jingle All the Way with Arnold.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'll say, in addition to the movies, I'm a big on like holiday specials. From the time I was a little kid, all the Rankin Bass stuff.
Oh yeah, dude.
So we've got some in our house that we watch every year. Probably my favorite is the Disney's Mickey's A Christmas Carol.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
You're just Scrooge.
Yeah.
That one, the Rankin Bass Rudolph, of course.
Yeah.
And you know what's really good? I don't know if you've guys seen it. It's a little more recent, from like the 2000s. It's the Toy Story holiday special, Toy Story That Time Forgot.
Oh yeah. The Toys That Time Forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that one's really cool. One of the things that's cool about that is, if anybody that's never seen it, it involves not just the Toy Story characters, but a bunch of other toy characters, including like these battle dinosaur action figures.
Yeah.
And the way that they did the animation was so good.
Yeah.
Like, they move, and the way they sound and everything, it's very like, it looks and sounds like plastic. They have like all kinds of like little articulation points and stuff like that you would expect on an action figure. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, some of my favorites are more the kind of big throwback retro ones, the nostalgic ones. A Christmas Story. That's my number one and always will be. I just love that film. It's just so good and so well written, and it's just a timeless classic. But aside from that, some kind of offbeat ones are I love watching Gremlins for Christmas.
I love that movie.
Yeah, so I love Gremlins, and then of course A Nightmare Before Christmas. I love watching that at Christmas time. Yeah.
It's so I love Gremlins too. That's like right in my wheelhouse, man, as far as 80s movies go.
Yeah.
And for Christmas, one of my Christmas gifts, not last year, I think it must have been Christmas 2020. So again, it's still like the end of the first pandemic year, and that was when like movie theaters were running this thing where you could like rent a whole movie theater for pretty cheap, and watch old movies and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So that was my gift. My family got it for me, was to rent it out a theater to watch Gremlins.
Oh, sick.
So we brought our whole family. We could spread out wherever we want in the theater.
That's
and watch
cool.
Gremlins. And it was pretty dope. The funny thing is, we kind of brought the kids to it. I was like, I forgot, like, there's parts of Gremlins, especially at the end, which is kind of like gross and scary, but they did okay. They were fine.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, speaking of the old Rankin Bass and the old animation films, it's funny, when I have, just probably like everybody else, I have a full blown like DVD collection in my cupboards and stuff that we go through, and I watch movies all the time. But like the holiday movies, it's always those ones. Those are the ones you have to like pull out of the dusty shelf every holiday season and start watching them and stuff. But I had realized a few years back that a lot of those holiday specials, especially the animated series, I had a lot of those on I don't know, VHS or DVD way back in the day, and I guess I had never replaced them. So it's like kind of one of those things that every holiday season I keep reminding myself to kind of buy all of those old like the old Santa Claus is coming to town, and the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and the year that all the great films like that like I said, we all grew up with as kids, because those are great holiday films. Aside from like the classics like Miracle on 34th Street, like that's a film I watch every year, like religiously, during Christmas time. It's just one of those films that, like I said, you got to watch at least once a year.
Yeah. Hold on a second here. It's funny. There is the other day, like randomly, I just had YouTube on, and I think I had watched like it used to be Toy Galaxy, now it's Secret Galaxy. Did their most recent history on Rankin Bass, like the company as a whole. And the thing that came on next was a YouTube channel that did a show about the puppets, the stop motion puppets from the Rankin Bass like holiday specials,
Mm.
like what had ever happened to them, and how that for a long time people thought they were just like gone, like they were. And the way they did it was the animation was actually done in Japan. They did the story here in America. Rankin Bass wrote it, and then they did the animation there in Japan. And then I forget what year it was. That show Antique Roadshow?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So there was a guy that showed up on that show. And for anybody that doesn't know, it's a show about antiques and stuff, and people bring stuff that they have. It's kind of like Pawn Stars before Pawn Stars was Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
They bring stuff and they get it valued there or whatever. And this guy shows up and he's got like the Santa Claus, and I think, what was it, the Rudolph, I think, and a Rudolph, I think.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, my mom worked for Rankin Bass, and she had a whole set of like all the puppets like that were
Oh, wow.
stop motion,
That's awesome.
and she got to bring them home just because she worked there. And I guess they had probably sent them over for, I don't know, for whatever, I don't know for what, for maybe after they did the animation, or maybe they did it for approvals. Who knows what the hell, why she had it, but she had them, and they would take them out as Christmas decorations every year and like set them up around their house and stuff. But they kept them in their attic, and like they all like got like melted, like
Ah.
these two.
Sucks.
So that sucked, but it was awesome that these two exact puppets survived. And I think they were bought and sold a couple of times at different auctions and stuff. But I think now those two puppets are currently in a museum, I think in Atlanta, in Georgia right now.
Mm.
So you can like go see them and stuff. But the good news is, as the special went on, is that there are others. There are others, because I guess in creating like all the specials, they would have multiples of each character.
Yeah.
And that, people think that some of them are still, like in like Japan.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, Walter throws out, he said animators used to keep a lot of their work when working at studios. So that
Yeah.
might be a way that she ended up with it. But that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, you gotta, I mean, like I said, you gotta appreciate the fact and the value of what things like the Rankin Bass specials did for their time, like with the animation and stuff. It's like to me, it's a throwback to that art form, that stop motion animation, which in fact is a huge throwback and a huge respect out to like guys like Ray Harryhausen and all the the monsters that he created and the animation that he did with those models and stuff for like films like Clash of the Titans and such. You know what I mean? It's like you look at some of the stuff, the work that they did, and like I said, for their time, with what was available at the time of in the world of like special effects and stuff like that. I mean, some of that work is it's completely amazing, man. It's just you just got to give respect to it. And like I said, to see old stuff like that, and I would love to, like I said, just like the stuff from the Rankin Bass programs, I would love to see, a collection of the old like Ray Harryhausen, monsters and skeletons and the figures that he created for the movies that he worked on and stuff like that, to see where stuff like that ended up, and almost be, like I said, be it museum pieces, that if you would, that'd be pretty cool to see.
I would love to see something like that. I wonder where some of that stuff is. I mean, that kind of stuff like just sparked such interest in my mind. I was like,
Oh yeah,
I didn't even know that
totally.
I was even thinking about it, and then it came on. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, and when like they were telling the story, and that some of them were lost or whatever. It's like, that sucks that like a piece of history like is not there anymore. But then the
Yeah.
fact that some of it still did survive is just, I don't know. It's pretty cool. Like, it's kind of like, what was it? There was recently, I was watching another special. I think it was about, was it Mattel? It was some toy. It was like a major toy company, and they were talking about some of the prototypes of like some action figures and play sets and stuff that never came out, and how like some of it just like got tossed. Like,
Yeah.
so like people in a business sometimes are not always thinking about what this might mean like down the road. If it's not getting used or something like that, it just gets tossed or whatever.
Yeah.
And the idea that like, I don't know, like a Dino Saucers playset might have existed somewhere, but
Yeah.
it went away, like, hurts my heart.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, when we went to that reminds me, when we went to Seattle, there's a big museum called the Museum of Pop Culture up in Seattle, and that was an amazing place. They had a huge collection of old like pop culture film, you know, uh, like props and stuff that they use for all these old films, and it was really cool because it's like they had stuff from way back, and they had like they had Dorothy's blue dress from the Wizard of Oz. The Wicked Witch's the hat from the Wicked Witch, the lion costume for the guy who played the lion. I mean, the actual original pieces that they actually used in the films. It was like, wow, it's amazing to see stuff like that that's been preserved and kept and showcased in a museum type thing. And they had all kinds of stuff. They had stuff from like they had the actual original Alien from the first Aliens movie. They had the T-800 exoskeleton, like the chromed out skeleton robot. They had that from I think it was either Terminator. It was from the Terminator 1 movie. Luke Skywalker's lightsaber from Star Wars. I mean, they had a ton of shit, and it was really cool because each one of the displays, obviously, it had the plaque and told what it was and what movies it was used in and whatnot. And then on the bottom of each plaque, there was a thing that said that it was like donated by or on loan by such and such family, and all of these things were all owned by a certain family. So I guess there's some family that owns or buys and owns like all of these crazy props and stuff that they use inside of movies, and then they curate them and then they lend them out to these museums to showcase them, which is, like I said, it's fantastic because I mean they had everything. They had stuff from everything from Lord of the Rings to horror movies to just like I said, anything that's pop culture. It was awesome, and I took tons of photographs of tons of stuff that was just like, wow, this is like a once in a lifetime chance. Bless you. That you're actually going to get to see stuff like this in person, and it was amazing, man. It was really amazing.
Got to go there now, dude. She loves Wizard of Oz.
I do.
Oh yeah, even if you're not, I mean, like I said, even if the Wizard of Oz is your last thing that you do, like there's so many things there that are just, I mean, I couldn't believe it that they had down there. And then of course they had a great tribute, like a huge tribute display to like they had one to like Nirvana. They did one to Pearl Jam, and then they had another one that was dedicated to Prince. So it had a bunch of like his old guitars and old memorabilia and stuff like that. And it was really, really cool, man. Definitely a huge check off point to do if you ever visit Seattle. The Museum of Pop Culture. It's incredible.
Dude, as a side note, one of the places that I haven't been in general that I was just talking about this last night with my brother-in-law is the Pacific Northwest in general, but Seattle in particular. There's like number one, like there's a lot of weird. It's funny how like different things that you see in life sort of spark like an interest. But like my favorite show of all time is X-Files, right? And that's actually, I think the early seasons actually filmed like in Vancouver, Canada, I think. But there were some episodes that supposedly took place like in the Pacific Northwest. So the whole landscape of like the forests and stuff of the Pacific Northwest has always sort of appealed to me. And then on top of that, I'm a child of, the late 80s, early 90s, grunge music, stuff like that. So the whole art scene and stuff like that in Seattle has always sort of appealed to me. So I always wanted to check out. I heard Seattle is an awesome city, by the way, in general. So I would just love to go there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, we did pretty much everything, all the cool spots to hit and stuff like that. And then just as we were going around, where I was just like, okay, so what are we gonna do now? And we found the Museum of Pop Culture, and that was just like, to me that was like the highlight of the trip. It was amazing because I mean I'm such a pop culture geek that I was like, oh my god, look at that, running around taking tons of pictures and stuff. And yeah, it it was great. So yeah, just one of those things, like I said, just, to be able to see stuff like that you would never, like I said, and to actually, it's not just like replicas of it's the actual
Thing.
items that they actually used in those films, and it's like, wow, like that's really, really cool,
Yeah, that's like a thing, like, you either get it or you don't, and I think most people kinda do. Like,
Yeah.
there's a provenance, there's something about, like, an actual thing that was present during, like, a certain time, you know what I mean? And that's true of, like, any, like, if you wanna take it, the stuff we're talking about, like, in pop culture and stuff, and on the Harryhausen stuff, Eric, I don't know if you, saw this or not, Walter said that Peter Jackson apparently has a lot of that Harryhausen stuff
Oh,
in
nice.
his own private museum in New Zealand, so
Oh,
no
that's
good reason to
awesome.
go to New Zealand.
There you go. Yeah, that's awesome.
Anything to like that goes to like anything like in a museum or anything like that. Another thing, real quick, side note, tangentially related. One of the coolest things we did in Italy was we went to Pompeii. Um, and that's freaking awesome. If you ever have an opportunity to go to Pompeii or a place like that, it's amazing. It's like a whole city basically preserved after the like a volcanic eruption or whatever.
Oh,
And I had
Pompeii. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I had known about it obviously, and it's a famous, historical place or whatever. What I didn't realize was like the scope of like this ancient city, like that, like you could stand in the street in the middle of Pompeii, and as far as you can see down that way down the street is Pompeii preserved, and as far as you can see down that way is Pompeii. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
If you ever have
I've
an opportunity to see that, that's awesome.
I've actually been to the Franklin Institute, the museum, when they did the Pompeii exhibit, and it was, like,
Nice.
really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's crazy.
not to bring that around to like toys. Like, look at me connecting Pompeii to like toys.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the kind of thing
Cool.
with vintage toy collecting. You know, it doesn't rise to the level of a Pompeii. I understand, but there's something cool about an on-card vintage figure.
Oh, yeah.
Because to me, it's like the idea that this thing was or could have been hanging on a peg at a Jamesway or a Kmart or a Toys
Yeah.
R Us 40 years ago, and kids could have been looking at it. There's just something cool about that to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
different scenario. That's why, like, that's why a vintage an on card action figure to me, it has a different, like I said, a different provenance. There's something different about it than a mint on card modern figure.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's a totally
Absolutely.
different scenario.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always.
Totally different scenario. Yeah. I'm definitely a fan of that, for sure. I've always thought, throughout my years of collecting of trying to acquire, but I mean, the prices are just ridiculous. And granted, it's well understood why the prices are what they are for some of these things, but I've always wanted to acquire like some old original, like the original Masters of the Universe mint on card figures, like the original like 7 figures, which like Skeletor, He-Man, Beastman, Man at Arms on their original cards, mint condition and stuff like that. And like I said, you look at some of the prices and you're looking at, thousands and thousands of dollars for some of that stuff. But it's just like you said, I mean, you could imagine, I mean, you see this thing that's, I mean, in mint condition, you're just like, wow, that thing's like 40 plus years old and it's still in immaculate condition like that. Like how did it survive that many years, and how many hands that held that and stored it away, and you know what I mean, and still have it in that, pristine condition and stuff. You gotta have some kind of respect for stuff like that. And stuff like that, like the old Kenner Star Wars line from the actual Star Wars Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi films, to see those those figures still mint on card, I mean, in perfect condition. It's like, oh man, there's nothing like it, man. I mean, like I said, you look at the figures and it's laughable because the figures are total garbage, but it's just like you gotta respect the nostalgia of it, and the fact that, like I said, someone took the time to, like I said, keep that in the condition, in the mint condition, that they have them. And it's an amazing thing to see when you see them in person, stuff like that.
I tell you what, though, even like a beat up card, like
Yeah.
the old one is here. Actually, I got one here. Let me grab one real quick.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, there's some stuff out there that, like I said, I would love to have on card as a true collector and a true fan and the nostalgia of it. But dude, I look at them like I'd have to sell half my shit just to afford one of these things. It's crazy.
Check this shit out. All right. So, excuse me. So, at a local, not a local, it's like a sports and collectibles shop
Mm.
on Route 22 in Lebanon, New Jersey. So it's literally like five minutes from my house, and it's like a little collectible shop. And it's called RC Collectibles. It's a cool dude that runs it, but he mainly specializes in like sports cards and stuff like that. And I'm a huge sports fan, but I don't really do sports memorabilia, oddly. But every once in a while, he'll have like random action figures, and he had this Supernaturals figure on card.
Nice.
And like literally, I think I paid like $10 for it, maybe something like that. But like, this is like a 40-year-old figure.
That's crazy.
And I remember Supernaturals being out when I was a kid. This is like, in the part of the 80s when holograms were a big thing for figures or whatever. And just the fact that this was hanging in a store.
That's crazy.
Somehow it just never got opened. It's got the price tag on it, $4.99. Like, I think that's freaking cool.
Yeah. I love seeing too when people like that, because I've seen tons of that stuff like at Frank and Sons, but I love seeing like old figures that have like the old like the KB Toys price tags on them and stuff like that. Like that's cool because it's like that's total nostalgia. It's like, oh man, KB Toys, like that rocks, dude.
I miss KB Toys.
Especially
dude. When I didn't find what I wanted at Toys R Us, the way back in the day, I remember we had a mall and then a Toys R Us directly across this main highway.
Yeah.
Whatever Toys R Us didn't have, KB Toys had. And vice versa, dude. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
See, growing up, I grew up in South Jersey. But the Black Rose. I don't think I know the Black Rose, Len. You have to tell me about that. We didn't really have a Toys R Us near us for a long time growing up. So for near me, as far as action figures go or toys in general, Jamesway, which was a department store. I don't think it was even all over the country. So I don't know if people know Jamesway or not. There was a Jamesway that wasn't that far. And in my head, I still remember going to the toy aisle. And in my head, it was like massive, but like the building is still there, but it hasn't been a Jamesway in years and years and years. And it couldn't have actually been that big. But so it was Jamesway, and then oddly enough, they opened an Acme, and then Acme had a small toy section. But the other toy store that we could go to would have that wasn't like if we drove far away to like an Ames or a Kmart. Oh no, I did, Len. I did. I'm sorry. All right, so Len in the chat is talking about the Black Rose, which was like an antique mall flea market type thing in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, attached to the mall. I didn't remember that was the name, Len. I have been there, and it sucked that it closed because it was the weirdest thing. It was like you would walk into the mall, right? And what Len's talking about here, and like you walked basically through the back. It was like you're walking into a store, and instead it was a big like antique mall flea market type thing with all kinds of just random shit. There was a couple of vendors that would have like vintage toys and action figures and stuff. Do I have anything here from that? I remember I almost bought a whole bunch of like Star Trek figures one time when I was there. Not because I'm not even a big Star Trek. I don't dislike it. I just never got into it. But they were like, I think they were Playmates, right? Star Trek figures, I think. They're just so cheap. They were all on card and cheap, and I just never bought them. But yes, so I have been there, Len. I didn't remember that was the name.
Yeah, I remember when growing up as a kid. I mean, way before the days of of actually being a collector. I mean, this was when I was a kid and actually played with action figures and would want to go to buy a new G.I. Joe or a new Star Wars action figure or whatnot. But we had our local we had a Toys R Us that was probably at the time, I think the Toys R Us from our home was probably, I don't know, maybe like a 35, 45-minute drive. But our local mall was actually the best place for us as kids for toys, because there was inside of our mall, we had a KB Toys, a full-blown KB Toys inside of our mall. And then at the other end of the mall, there was a second toys store inside the mall. It was called I believe it was called Carl's Toys. And it was like both of them were completely stockpiled with, I mean, everything you could imagine, from radio controlled cars to trains to action figures to everything. So it's like Ryan said, if one of them didn't have it, the other one was sure to have it. And it was just like, so when we would go to the mall, my parents would cut us loose and we'd go running for KB Toys and go, hit the, the wall of pegs of, whatever action figure line was out at the time, Masters of the Universe, and just like that's another thing that I completely miss of the old way things used to be done, where you went to a toy store like that and it was just like from floor to ceiling, 12 to 15 feet of just nothing but pegged figures. It was like, there was no empty spots. There was never an empty peg on a shelf. It was like completely stacked with figures. So you would have to sit there for, 45 minutes to an hour just looking through all the figures, like, what do they have? What do they have? What do they have? And it's just like, now it's like you go and it's like it's complete emptiness. It's just garbage in these places now. I hate shopping retail figures. I just don't do it anymore.
And remember back then, that was like that was a way a lot of times you found out about new figures.
Oh yeah,
you would just go, and we did have a KB actually at the Hamilton Mall in Mays Landing, New Jersey.
Yeah,
that was one of the two. We did have two malls, and there was a KB in there, and the KB, it wasn't a big store.
No.
It was packed, like you're saying, floor to ceiling,
stocked,
all from the front to back, nothing but toys.
Yeah,
and go through, and you'd find new toys there, like action figures that didn't know existed.
Yeah, I actually I know a couple people made YouTube videos about it, but I had found out about it years and years and years ago, because I actually worked for Super Target for like 6 years, and while I was there, I was working in their toys and electronics department. So it's like, and as an action figure collector, it was like that was my game right there. I was all in my zone. What's that?
I think Ryan's stepping away for a second.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. So being that in that element, I kind of like got to see firsthand like what goes down with like how merchandisers and vendors, do their process of stocking and replenishing, things like action figures. And I found out a long time ago that the whole system is that the companies will actually sit down with places like Walmart, Target, what have you, and they basically negotiate a price for a certain section of merchandising or retail space in their store. And once that check is written for the actual, use of the space, no one else can take that away from the company that's actually utilizing it for their merchandise. But on the flip side, once that space is paid for, basically most of the companies don't give two shits about what they put there. So that's why you have what you have in today's market as far as like action figures. And action figures is one of the worst ones in that scenario, where all of the companies actually do the same thing. Like, I mean, if you go and look at where like toothpaste is or body deodorants or shampoos, each vendor or manufacturer has their own allotted space for their product, but they obviously want to sell and to the masses, so they stock all these things in the thing. But when it comes to toy collecting or action figures, it's like one of the few things that you'll actually see that's constantly unmaintenanced or unstocked inside of stores. Because like I said, most of the companies, once they write that check for that retail space, they basically give a shit and they don't do anything about it. So it's like you go to these retail stores, and it's not, like I said, it's nothing like what it used to be. And that's something that, like I said, a lot of people, especially new toy collectors or younger guys that weren't around for the days of the KBs and stuff like that, they'll never know how great it was to have toy stores that actually, like I said, cared about the whole toy industry and kept things stockpiled and brought in new product and stuff like that. They'll never understand how great those times were.
And I'll tell you what, I think recently, I will say at least like the Target near me in recent months has been pretty stocked. Now, it's not stuff that I'm looking for, but their aisles have been like the Masterverse stuff is stocked. They have tons of stuff.
Mhm.
McFarlane stuff stocked. Power Ranger stuff stocked. Excuse me. And then the NECA stuff is always pretty jam packed. But I do think, like, I know this is a different time. I know the kids are into YouTube and video games and stuff like that. So it's a different market now, the way it's sort of shaped up. But I do think that toy companies are missing the boat a little bit as far as getting toys to these kids early on, and having them like be into it for their whole lives. Because every time I walk into a Target or my local Walmart, there's still kids wandering up and down the aisles, and that was another way as a kid you would find out not just about new characters, but about new toy lines at all.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's different when you walk down the aisle and you see it for the first time. Sometimes it sparks an interest in you.
Hmm.
I can tell you, even from having my own kids, like kids will still, it might not be the same as it was in the 80s and 90s ever again, but it's not like kids today will not play with toys. Like I can tell you from having kids of my own, they're still into toys. It's not
Hmm.
quite the same. Like for me, it was like as a kid, like action figures, like that was it. Like that's what I dreamed about. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
into it. I never wanted to lose them. Like my kids are just different. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the way, because the way I was with action figures, and because I'm a collector now, I'm happy to get my kids toys, whatever they want. You know what I mean? Um, but it's like I think I could probably get rid of 99% of the toys and stuff in my house, and my kids wouldn't even really be upset.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, like if I didn't know where my 6 GI Joes were, I'd be upset.
Oh, dude, I literally have traumatic memories from my mom and dad. My mom, oh man, my mom used to be she'd come in my room and get all hell bent, freaking crazy with me sometimes because I don't know, I screwed up at school or I got in a fight with a kid or did something stupid or whatever. And my punishment, my mom used to actually throw away my toys, dude. Now talk about freaking like things you'll never forget. Like, she would grab like a big old bag and toss all my my GI Joes or my my Hot Wheels collection or my this or that. You know what I mean? It was just like, no, please, not that. And yeah, there it would go in the trash. And it's like I'll never forget that stuff. Today, like I said, today you throw away a garbage can worth of action figures or toys. Kids today are like, nah, they don't even care. Like to me, it was like the most devastating thing in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like my daughter in particular, like she plays with toys. Like she plays with toys. Like whether it
Yeah.
be like, she was into the LOL thing for a while. Thank God that phase is past. But like Calico critters, different stuff like that. Like I tell like even like my like the freaking Plunderlings, dude. Like my daughter Grayson has claimed Plunderlings for her own. And I was just like, there was a bunch of stuff that I packed up that I just had upstairs that we're having some work done that I mentioned for the 90 millionth time. And I was like, open it up, and like she was like creating her own clothes for them and stuff, like
Nice.
different stuff. Like she's
Nice.
cool. So I think
How old is she?
she's 9. She just turned.
Okay.
She turned
Okay.
9 in October.
I was gonna say she wasn't but she was probably way too young then. She wasn't part of the whole the Monster High phase.
No, she was. She was.
Oh,
As a
okay.
matter of fact, it's coming back now. Actually, she just
Yeah.
wants to hire figures. I gotta be honest with you. Like some of like I don't know exactly what year they came out, but some of those Monster High movies not terrible. if you watch movies with your kids or whatever. My favorite, Boo York. Boo York was my favorite Monster High movie. But yeah, she's totally into it.
Oh, that's funny.
She even had a Monster High. Maybe she was dressed. She was some Monster High character for Halloween one year too.
Oh, nice.
I pulled some pictures here. I don't know if you guys want to check these out. Now I did this real quick, fast, in a hurry. So, is any of the pictures that you guys shared? You don't care if I throw them up here, do you?
No.
No, by all means.
I didn't grab everything, but I grabbed a couple. I got the date.
Oh, hey.
So first up, we got some original paintwork, right?
Yes.
Tell us about this. What are we looking at here?
So I don't know how to pronounce Eric Holas. The Eric LeBron swords from Wolf King Customs. I painted them up. I sent it in there. You can't really tell, but I did put a little bit of a black wash on the handle and the guard.
Yeah.
But I gave that to this guy right here. I painted that head up too.
Nice. Yeah.
Looks good, man.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I felt like those swords fit perfectly with the motif I was going with for this guy. And dude, I painted up one of the axes. I got to seal it. But dude, congratulations again to the both of you. Well deserved.
Oh,
you guys
bro.
are great
Thank
people.
You. Thank you.
And it was super cool. The funny thing, so anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about here, was actually the last time we were on live, right?
Yeah.
We ended up skipping last week. My family's been we had a COVID holiday, but Eric had the sword named after him by Wolf King Customs, which is awesome, and was all pumped up about that a couple of weeks ago when we were on here live, because that's when we kind of we're talking about it and everything. And then after the live was over, maybe it was even the next day, Eric messaged. He's like, "Hey, am I looking at this right?" And he saw another one of the weapons, the axe, was called Jonafires, right? Jonafires axe.
Yeah.
And he's reading like the description, and it said, so like a more formal axe, right? And that was sort of like my thing with like some of my videos, is the whole shirt and tie thing. And I'm like, that would be awesome, man. But like, it's probably just a coincidence or whatever. But then Len confirmed that was like a little nod to me, I guess. And I was like, dude, that's so amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah, that was awesome, dude. That was freaking awesome.
And dude, this paint job, I think it looks really cool, Ryan. I think you did a great job.
Yeah, you did an awesome job, dude.
Thank you.
Good times.
And this is the full set of the arsenal you picked up, right?
Yeah, the top one, that's the BF Peter axe.
Yeah.
I believe it stands for Big Fat Peter. From my wife is gonna kill me.
Mm-hmm.
So I did paint those yet, or I did paint those. I'm not sure if I sealed it. Dude, this week has been one big blur.
Yeah, the week, that holiday week, it's so tough to know even what day it is.
Oh, seriously.
And then we got, all right, so this is Eric's got an ongoing project, like I guess a lot of us do, as far as some reorganization and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is your hot toy shelf, right?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm kind of testing the waters on what I'm gonna do with my Hot Toys collection, because I'm selling all of my Detolfs that are currently behind me, because I'm gonna replace them with some new shelving units in the room, and kind of like I said, 2023 is just gonna be a complete rehaul of the room, and so lots of stuff is going out and lots of new stuff is coming in, but. Yeah, my Hot Toys collection, I need a new space for it. So I'm trying to, this is just messing around. Just once I started putting the shelves up, just testing what some things would look like on the shelves, and just seeing what's what. I mean, it's not set in stone yet, but I mean, it's one of those things where I'm like, hey, this kind of might work if I have nowhere else to put these. I obviously have some new shelves that I'm putting up right now that. Can actually, support, this collection of mine or whatever.
And then Ryan, you had asked me if I was thinking about getting into the Hot Toys game.
Yeah.
I currently don't have any Hot Toys, And it's not something that I'm like sort of like looking to get into, but I've always sort of had that idea. Like I always just kind of assumed I'll probably end up with like one or two Hot Toys that'll have like an honored space somewhere in the collection. And the probably the main character that kind of pops into my head first would be a Darth Vader. Like,
Yeah.
I know that is that the Empire Strikes Back Vader from a few years ago?
No, that's my whole collection. That's those are all episode 4 figures. So
Okay.
all of them are from episode 4 because obviously nostalgia, you know, that when it came to Hot Toys, the first thing that my heart and eyes drew straight to were the Star Wars figures. So, and being a kid of the 70s, and like I said, that was my jam right there with Star Wars. So yeah, all of these figures are all from episode 4 in New Hope. So that's where all of them were, except for the last two on the right hand side of the photo. That is the Mythos Obi-Wan. So that's basically his time between the Clone Wars and when he actually meets Luke. So that's a younger version of Obi-Wan. And then of course in the back I bought the because I was a super fan of the show. That's the Beskar Mandalorian.
I've heard a lot of good things about the Hot Toys Mandalorian figures.
Oh yeah, they're like I said, any Hot Toys figure you get, I mean, it's just they're simply amazing. The only two I don't have on display here, I have and that's a sideshow. I have the sideshow Stan Lee figure, the original Stan Lee figure, and then my only other Hot Toys that I have, and he's stored away because I haven't had him out in display for a while. Or actually, I have another one too. I have the DX11 Jack Nicholson Joker from the original Batman. I have that figure, and then I have I have the Hot Toys die-cast Mark 46 Iron Man from Civil War. That's an amazing figure. I mean, for like I said, for a 12-inch scale, you know, die cast figure that's got that much articulation and all kinds of light up features on it, and it's ridiculous. That and the head sculpt, the Robert Downey Jr. head sculpt that comes with it's uncanny how crazy, how much it looks like Robert Downey Jr. It's like you'd expect that thing to just come to life and just start talking to you. It's kind of creepy, like when you look at it close. I mean, just like any of the figures. I mean, all of the figures you see here, the Mark Hamill, the Harrison Ford sculpt. I mean, the sculpt work and the details on them are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that Obi-Wan too, because the one all the way on the right, I was like, it's Obi-Wan, but he looks so different.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah, it's an amazing figure. Yeah, it's like I said, it's the Mythos version of him. So basically, it's when he escaped the Order 66 and he went into hiding. And it's kind of cool because on his you can't see it in the picture, but he's actually wearing a huge backpack with all kinds of like gear that he has on it, and he's actually got one of the parts on it is one of his shoulder pauldrons, or one of the like the shoulder pauldrons from the actual like Clone Wars and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really, really cool. It's like I said, it's an amazing figure.
Yeah, so my knowledge is not super, like, I just kind of listen to other people talk. Like I'll check in on Trevor's 1/6 pack podcast every once in a while, or the YouTube live, on his YouTube channel, and just check out those guys, you know, when they're talking about all the different 6 scale figures.
Yeah.
But the first one I ever saw in person, I think, was the Heath Ledger Joker, and that was at a Toy Con a few years ago, Ryan.
Yeah.
But then the YouTube channel Toy Galaxy, they would do like top 10 lists of all different figures, and typically they would say that Hot Toys aren't eligible for this list because the Hot Toy, they would just dominate the list or whatever. So then they did like a top 10 Hot Toys of all time, and I think it was in either 2018 or 2019 they did it. And just watching that list, it was like, damn, I was like, there was the Hot Toys RoboCop. That was freaking awesome. I kind of like wanted that, you know, some die cast parts, light up features. Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader,
Mm.
which I think had like a diorama stand from, I think, Cloud City and some light up features.
Mm.
The Jack Nicholson Joker, that's another one where if I was just ever going to get one, the Jack Nicholson Joker might be one that would fit that bill for me.
Yeah, that's this is an amazing
Yeah.
figure. Yeah, like I said, the face on this is just it's ridiculous, like how good. And then it's cool because he's got a feature on the back of his head. You can like pop off the back hair, and it's got a little feature on the back where like it actually makes the eyes like move. You can actually turn the eyeballs in it. It's ridiculous. Like
Purse,
yeah,
the
what's that?
The purse, patented eyeball rolling system.
Oh
Purse.
yeah. But yeah, this is an amazing figure. Like I said, it just all around is just gorgeous. The soft goods on it, the way they've done this whole every single detail of them, it's ridiculous how good this figure is.
So Ryan, remind me again, what's your deal with Hot Toys?
I stay away from them because I know I'm a compulsive buyer and it's a sickness with toys. And I'm just going to be upfront because the first step is
Admitting you have a problem.
yeah. But on 1/6 pack last night, I believe it was Tom. He was talking about the Jujutsu Kaisen 1/6 30 figures.
Mhm.
I've been teetering on whether or not to buy one of them.
Mm.
So if I do buy a 1/6 figure, that's my first one right there.
Mm. There's got to be. I'm actually quite surprised that neither one of you guys own a Hot Toys. That's crazy.
No.
That's crazy. Because there's I mean, to me, when I got into Hot Toys, I mean, I was like, oh yeah, like this is gonna be my new collecting. Like this is gonna be it. Like it's gonna be all 1/6 stuff. And I mean, rest assured, I learned very quickly how expensive that can get. So I kind of blew my wad, right off the bat with what I was buying at first. But then after a while, I was like, okay, I've already dumped like quite a few $1,000s into just these Hot Toys, so I got to slow down. So, but I mean, as far as to me, it was 100% a nostalgic throwback for me. So that's why I did it was something like this, like the Star Wars collection. Like if I was going to get something or make a decent, a small collection for myself, it was definitely going to be something that really, really spoke to me 100%. It wasn't just going to be like, oh, that's the new hottest figure that's out, and I'm just going to get it for no rhyme or reason other than to be another guy in line that has it. You know what I mean? Like it had to speak to me. So that's why I have these figures here.
Yeah, it would be the same way with me. That's why I said it would be something like a Darth Vader or whatever. And same thing with me. Episode 4 is probably my favorite movie ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then my thing is always that theatrical version only. Kids out there, theatrical version only. You can find it. Go on the internet.
Yeah.
But I was born. This is what I say anyway. That I was born the night Episode 4 came out.
Nice.
My birthday is May 26th, 1977.
That's awesome.
But I was born at like 3 a.m. So
Yeah.
to me, that's still the night of May 25th. And I didn't, and that's the night, for anybody that didn't know, that's the night Star Wars was the official premiere, May 25th, 1977, which I didn't even realize until it's been a while now because I'm old, but sometime maybe like 10, 15 years ago, something like that. My wife had gotten me a vintage inspired Star Wars shirt. It had Luke, Han, and Leia or something. I still have it. And it had the date, the premiere date, May 25th, 1977. And it wasn't until I saw the date on the shirt that I was like, wait a minute. I was kind of born the night Star Wars came out.
Yeah.
Star Wars comes out the night of the 25th. And then later that night, 3 a.m., I was born. I'm like, it was meant to be. That's why I love Star Wars so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was that summer, I was the summer of that release, I was 4 years old at Mann's Chinese Theater down in Hollywood with my parents, standing in line to go see episode 4.
Really?
Yeah, I was there. Way. Yeah, I saw it in the movies when it came out. Yeah, in 1977.
Are you in any of the video or anything like that?
Oh no. I mean, God, the crowds that were down there were for months and months at a time. I mean, who knows? Yeah, but yeah, I was there, dude. I was there.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is pretty sweet.
Yeah,
And
I would, like I said, that's childhood memories that you'll never forget. And that's, like I said, to me, when it comes to Star Wars, yeah, episode 4 all the way. And I've been there from the very beginning. So
meanwhile, Ryan's sitting there and he was like, "Yeah, I would not be born for many years yet."
Yeah. So, side note, the my cousin is in the chat, the one who's gonna most likely be going to ZoloCon with me.
That's freaking awesome.
nice, nice.
Is that Brian?
Yes.
Brian, what's up, dude? I can't wait to meet you. It'll be awesome because I will be at ZolaCon. I'm sure I'll be there both days.
Eric's just gonna fly out for Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I don't know where my phone is, but I hear it buzzing somewhere. But so this next up, I grabbed this slide too. This is yours too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what do we got going on here?
Well, I like I said, a lot of my attention is just focusing back on details inside my room, and this is actually where my desk is. This shelf and that picture are right above my desk. That picture is an actual it's a Rudy Obrero print, an artwork print that I bought from him at PowerCon in 2019, and he actually signed it for me. And the cool thing about the print, it's actually printed on like a canvas, so it actually looks like an actual oil painting, the way that it's printed on the canvas that it's on. And I had that custom framed and mounted above my desk, and so the shelves below it, I thought what better way than to have some Motu stuff below it. But I wanted to update that shelf, so I built and painted up some new risers, almost gave it a little like Castle Grayskull effect with the sage green dry brushing on it and stuff like that. And then I had the extra spaces on the side of the picture, so I thought, what other great artwork do I have that's fitting for that and that kind of fits in that space. And I opened up one of my totes and pulled out all the old all the available card backs that I had with the artwork from Nate Barch, and I mounted those next to that thing. So kind of bringing the whole shelf and the whole display area together. And like I said, that's to me, that's as a collector, I mean, it's less about the acquisition of the figure, but what you do with it afterwards, how you actually enjoy your stuff. And how, to me, displays are by far the most important thing to me, is especially when I'm in my room more time than I'm in any other part of my house. So when I'm in my room, I like I said, when I look at my displays and what I have and the things that I enjoy, I want to actually really like what I'm looking at. You know what I mean? And when I have friends come over or buddies that come and hang out in the nerd cave, it's like I want them to appreciate and like what they're seeing as well. I mean, I get so many people that come in here and they're just like, oh my God, like, whoa, this is so cool. And it's like it makes me feel good as a collector to actually know that I've kind of put forward that effort to kind of bring this part of my collection to life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that it like sort of tells the story about you too, right? Like the figures that you have and how you display them tells a little bit about you. And if you have it like set up in a way that almost tells a story or that looks nice in a certain way, like yours does right here, it shows that you kind of care about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have, so even for like people that don't really get this stuff, like a lot of my good buddies that I grew up with and stuff, none of them are like collectors. Like they're all like, they're all into like Star Wars and stuff like that, but they're not like really action figure collectors. But sometimes if I set up a shelf a different way or something like that, I'll shoot them a picture or whatever, and they can appreciate it. You know what I mean? Because they're like, that looks cool. Plus it's obvious like that you took time to set it up in a certain way, so
Yeah.
like, I think that sort of sends the message or tells the story that this is something that you care about.
Yeah, and to me, it's funny too, because it's such a drastic contrast to the collector that I was so many years prior to who I am now. Where, like I told you before, I was I was a huge Minton card collector for like almost 20 years. So my, the rooms that are the houses that I owned before my house now, I mean, I had a room that was from floor to ceiling, just Minton card, packages that were like, thumbtacked to the wall, just, rows and rows and rows. And it's like, that's so weird to like think of that, though, displaying them in that fashion compared to what I'm able to do with them now. And now it's great because, like I said, add a package and building, backdrops or, risers or little dioramas, especially like I said, the stuff that you can get from like Crashbox and stuff like that to display it with. It's so awesome. I mean, it's really limitless what you can do. And seeing people's, work out there that do dioramas and stuff like that for any type of figure, whether it be like Marvel Legends or, NECA stuff or, Mythic Legions or Masters of the Universe. There's so much great talent out there of people putting together like these wonderful displays.
Dude, I love those risers. When you sent them to me, I was like, oh man. I was tempted to ask you to be like, hey, can you make me some? But you're working, you're moving and shaking, you're getting stuff done.
No,
You're
it's
busy
all
man.
good, dude. It's an easy process. I mean, I'd be more than happy to do them. Just to like, all I would need is just the width and the depth of what you want and how many risers up do you want them, because some of my risers, they're like, they're 4 tiers, some of them are 2 tiers, some of what I mean. It just depends on just depends on what I'm displaying. And I mean, they're so simple to make, dude. It's a joke. So it's like one of those things that once you learn how to do something like this, or a simple thing like making a riser, not like a complete diorama, but just risers. I mean, how much it totally steps the level up on your displays when you're actually looking at your figures. It's just like, it's mind-blowing, dude. You're just like, I don't know why I took so long in my collecting life to do something like this. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, and as stupid as it is, all it is just an inch or two of elevation for the figure behind, and it's like that totally makes the difference on displaying and how you look at it. And like I said, nothing gets lost in the mix. And I've seen thousands and thousands of collector rooms and tours where these guys have these amazing collections. I'll grant it, they have amazing collections, but half of it is lost behind everything else because they're all on bookshelves and they're all vanilla pose, and it's like 200 figures all standing behind each other, and basically the only ones you see are the ones in the front. You're like, what's going on way in the back of that collection? You know what I mean? It's like something's missing there.
Yeah, my bad. I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
Even if you don't make your own risers like these, which are, again, they're beautiful, just go on Amazon, get the acrylic stands, just give it levels and depth and stuff like that. Because it's just, and I know exactly what you're talking about. It's these Detolfs where they're just jam packed with, whether it be Mythic Legions or anything else. It gets lost.
It totally gets lost. And it's like, wow, there's probably a lot of really great looking figures in there. And it's like, how would I know? They're all behind each other. So it's like, once I saw that, and I just, like I said, I started realizing as a collector real fast, especially, like I said, I'm a real visual person. I just, like I said, when I look at something, I don't want anything to be lost or missed. So it's like, and especially with my own, I mean, like I said, I'm my own worst critic. So it's like, when I look at my displays in my room, I look at stuff and I'm like, wait, that figure needs to be moved over a little bit, or that, you know what I mean? He's kind of hiding behind that guy's shoulder or this or that. I'm real a visual person like that when it comes to displays. So when I have people see my stuff, I want, like I said, I want everybody to see exactly what's on display there and not miss anything and just enjoy the whole thing.
Yeah, that reminds me of two things. Is that, number one, and I know, and collectors collect differently or whatever, and I hear a lot of collectors say that, this is my scale, I collect this scale, and they don't like to mix lines or anything like that. I'm like the opposite. You know what I mean? Like, I'm, most of my modern collecting is 6 or 7 inch scale because that's kind of most of what's out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a 1/18th kid from back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And when I set up a shelf, I like having characters of different scales because I think you can see different things, and there's more interest for the eye to see. Like I have a Motu shelf. I got to put it back together now, but I have that Motu shelf will have Motu Classics, Vintage Motu, Motu Reaction, and it's like there's all different levels of these different characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for similar reason, the same thing that risers do. When you have figures of different scales that look good together, you can see different things if they're not all exactly the same height. You know, standing like soldiers in like a 1700s battlefield.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, you could see just like you were saying, just on this shelf. I mean, you could see it on the picture, but right in the very front, I have all of the why can't I think of the damn name? Those little like Lego style
Oh, I know what you mean. The Mega Constructs? Is that it?
Mega Constructs. I have
Yeah.
the whole. I have a bunch of the Mega Constructs, and then right directly in front of Ram Man on that picture, I have they came out with. Remember the world's smallest toys?
Yes.
Remember those little things? I have the He-Man and Battle Cat in front of him, and then in front of I have Skeletor somewhere in there. Oh, Skeletor's actually standing inside of the Land Shark. That's the little Hot Wheels Land Shark on there. So it's like, I mean, like you said, different scales and stuff, but basically telling the same thing or identifying with the same line. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those were so much fun, man. I love those things.
Dude, I picked it up and I was like, for the exact same purpose that we're talking about, the Mega Constructs, Skeletor, and Panther.
Yeah.
Flocked Panther.
That's the one that I have, the flocked one. It's so cool.
At clearance, $375, baby.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
What was it originally?
It says $14.99.
Yeah, I think I paid like 14 or 15 bucks for it. Yeah.
But you know, that also reminds me of something else we were talking about a few weeks ago, was talking about how to do your displays. And it came up to me because I cleared out a lot of my displays. But now that I think we see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're about a couple of weeks done from having some work done in my house finished. So once that's done, I'm going to set stuff back up. But I kind of want to set some of it up differently. And I want more like, especially on the top of my shelves where I have some room, do more like, not full on action displays, but like dioramas and things like that, just so it has more interest. Like not to the level of like what Greg the Brute Scale has.
Yeah.
That was sort of like one of the inspirations, just because it's like little movie sets that he's got.
Oh yeah, dude. His collection room is like I said, it's probably one of the best collection displays that I've ever seen in any collection. And that's no bullshit. Like that guy's collection, his displays and the attention to detail and how insanely huge those displays are. It's incredible. And that's very, very, I brought, even from the first time when I met Greg and the first time I went to his house from Legions Con 2021, when I came home, I came home with all kinds of inspiration on kind of stepping up my game. I cannot go to that level though. I mean, like I said, not only just the size of the displays that he does, but the amount of figures he actually puts into those displays. I mean, he's got a goblin display in one of his display units. There must be like 60 goblins in there. It's ridiculous. It's just like, dude, like, I mean, I'm lucky if I have like 5 or 10 goblins total in my whole collection, including the stuff I have in totes. You know what I mean? It's like, this guy's just got like 60 of them just on one display. You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell? I mean, it's like, you look at he's got another one with like a Templars and stuff like that. He's got like 40 Templars in that thing. I'm like, that's a whole nother level of collecting where, I mean, but the way Greg does it, I mean, you could just see. And I told him that's why I have so much respect for that guy. You could see how much love and dedication he puts into toy collecting and how much he really loves this stuff, man. It's just like it speaks volumes. His stuff is just amazing.
Yeah,
one of these days I'm gonna break in. That's my number one bucket list, is to see Greg the Brute Scale's toy room.
Oh, dude, yeah,
in person.
You have to go in there, dude. It's just jaw dropping, bro.
Yeah,
jaw dropping.
Greg, if you ever end up watching this on a replay or whatever, Greg, this is me with my unsolicited request for an invite to come.
Same. Don't forget me.
Bro. No, yeah, me and Ryan, we'll come. We'll bring the beer, like whatever. You name the date, man. We'll be there.
Yeah, beer, pizza, dude. I don't care.
Yeah. Greg's room is something to behold, especially as a toy collector, dude. Like I said, there's nothing. And then the weird thing is like Greg, I mean, you talk about someone who's into everything, dude. Like this guy has everything, dude. Like, I mean, from DC to Marvel to Star Wars to Aliens to Predators to Mythic Legions to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's all in that room, dude. And it's all in that room in massive scale, dude. It's just ridiculous, dude.
Well, when he was on Legion's Lair, I think he was one of the first episodes. When he did the tour, I remember him like going out of the toy room. He just had figures laying all over the place. I was like, man, dude, he is a jack of all trades essentially when it comes to toy collecting.
Oh yeah, dude, he's into everything, bro. And like I said, it's not like, oh, here maybe I have like a big Motu collection, but here's like 5 GI Joes. No, he's got a huge Motu collection, and then he's got like 120 figures on display of GI Joe classifieds. It's like, dude, like what the hell? Like he's a definite army builder, dude. He's freaking it's crazy, bro. It's insane. But like I said, very, very inspiring. And I took a lot of stuff back that I thought, man, if I could only, a hint of a shadow next to what he does. And that's kind of where I'm going in the line of why I'm getting rid of all my detolfs, because that confined space in a detolf, it just, like I said, I've done so many years with that type of display that I'm, after, seeing displays like what Greg does, I've come up with a kind of a scaled down option of what I'm going to try to attempt to do for my next setup and my display. So that's all, stuff that I've taken out of Greg's room, that I've seen what he's done with his collection. And I'm like, okay, now I know what direction I'm going to start heading into. So that's where I'm going.
Are either of you in the realm of collectors or listen to like Nerd Rage Radio?
No.
They instead of detolfs, it's way more pricey from what I hear. They I don't know if you heard of it, the Maji cases.
Oh, dude, Maji cases.
I always hear,
dude, that's like the bucket list for all collectors, dude. Maji cases are so freaking dope, dude.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
But they're expensive as shit, bro.
That's also what I hear.
Yeah. You're talking minimum on some of those units. You're talking minimum of like $3,000-$4,000 for one of those units. But they're freaking awesome, dude. So fucking awesome.
Because Bobby Skull. Well, are you familiar with Bobby Skullford?
Yeah.
Well, he does the thing called Skullfest, where it's like his tight knit group. They all go to his house, and there was pictures of like his collection.
Yeah,
and he had the Maji cases. Man, it really does elevate the display factor of the figures.
Yeah, to me too. When you step up to the level of like a Maji case, I mean, I personally I find it like a waste of money to invest in something like a Maji case to display something like a Marvel Legend in it. You know what I mean? Like the guys that are buying Maji cases are the guys that are like collectors of like the sideshow statues. You know what I mean? Like those big, massive maquettes and statues. I mean, those are like, $3,000-$4,000 pieces just alone. You know what I mean? If you're going to display something like that, you better have a display system that's worthy of that. You're not going to put something like that on a freaking, $40 like Target bookshelf. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's something that Bobby always talks about. Like you have a collection that's worth $40,000. Why do you have it on $10 shelves? You know what I mean? Like step up your game, dude. Like, I love watching the shit that comes out of Bobby's channel. I mean, and his recent I know he had done one a long time ago because I actually watched it when he was actually putting those shelves together. But his room tour or his collection tour that he just did, and he shows all those amazing displays, those diorama displays that he does for like in all of the Billy shelves that he does for like the Transformers and like the Star Wars. But each one of them, it's crazy that he's got like 40 different displays, but each one of them is like a cut scene from a certain movie. And it's like some of the displays only have like 3 or 4 figures in it, but it's a full-blown display built just for that scene. It's just like, dude, that's incredible to take the time and effort to recreate something like that just for those couple of characters. You know what I mean? It's just like, whoa. Yeah, but Module cases, dude, that's like I said, that's next level shit right there, bro. That's crazy.
Sorry, guys.
No worries.
It's all right. All right, so I was trying to get in on here. That's enough. Trying to show off a little bit here. Hold on one second now.
Jonathan, you familiar with Module cases?
I'm not. Just right now is the first time I remember ever hearing about them.
Oh yeah, dude, you gotta check them out, dude. They're amazing, bro. Amazing. But like I said, that's whole next level. That's next level collector, dude. That's like I said, that's way beyond my league. And there's another thing. Like I know Ryan, you were asking me about my shelves, my wooden shelves that I have in my room. As a collector and as a person, like I said, that you know, to me it's a visual thing, and like, you know, like I know they're just toys, I know they're just action figures, I know they're just foam risers with a little bit of paint on them, stuff like that. But the shelves that I put them on, I don't know, it's like to me it's part of the complete package. And I just, like I said, throughout all the years that I've been around and seen toy collections and stuff, and seeing the literal garbage that people have put their collections and displayed their collections on, it just like I just don't want to go down that same road that everybody else has gone down. And I mean I went everywhere from different like department stores to like the Home Depots and Lowe's and Targets, and looked at every, you know, available shelving system and this and that they had. And I just was like, this is all garbage, man. This all looks like shit. And I don't want to put that in my room and in my display. So that's when I came up with the idea, you know what? I'm just going to build and make my own shelves. And that's everything in my room, all my shelving in my room. It's all handmade and hand stained and sanded and put together. And like I said, and it might not work for everybody, but it works for me. And that's how I do my you know, collection shelves inside my room. I build all my shelves.
They're badass looking, dude.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, I was trying to add some slides to the thing here, and it just it's not working out, and I don't know why. Oh wait, it did work. Just kidding. Okay, so we'll remove that. There we go. All right, yeah, so even though I have some of my stuff down now, I did have some pictures from a few months ago. So, for example, this is what like a DC shelf looks like.
Nice.
Some of my superpowers.
Nice.
Including like the Superman and the Green Lantern and the Firestorm are all childhood figures.
Very cool. Very cool. See, here's something that I can totally appreciate and respect. Your collection completely speaks to the viewer what it is and what it's about. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be thousands of figures to do it. You know what I mean? You can do stuff and make your statement in true form with the smallest of collections if it's displayed right. You know what I mean? It's like I could never understand the people that, like I said, that have to have, you know, 82 Captain Americas in their collection. Like, I don't get that. Like, why don't you just put one good one and that tells you who that character is. You know what I mean? Along with maybe 5 or 10 other characters that go along with him, whether it be the Avengers or whatnot. You know what I mean? But seeing a collection like that, like that's like I said, I love it. I love seeing stuff like that where people put small groupings of collection that, like I said, speak to them and tell the story of what you're trying to address. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you notice here, Brian, you'll recognize Mezco Doctor Fate, and then this is the
Oh,
Mezco
yeah.
Christopher Reeve Superman with his little diorama base there. But I replaced the heads with a couple of the Mezco cosmic skulls.
Yeah.
The Superman you can't see so good in the picture, but that's like a translucent.
Christopher Reeves.
top.
Is that the Christopher Reeve Superman?
It is, yeah. And
Yeah.
sort of the idea was that, like, he got hit with some kryptonite or something like that, and he's like slumped over the Fortress of Solitude thing.
I like it. I like it.
That's a super good figure too. That, I mean, I don't have it, but that I was definitely when I saw that come out in Mezco, I was like, oh man, that would be a cool figure to have. That Christopher Reeves.
It's so good, dude. And I heard some
Yeah.
people didn't like it, and that's fine. But like, I think
It's not for everyone.
I think it's awesome. Like, and I
Oh,
think that's one thing. Like, the Mezco jumpsuits lend themselves very well to like old school superhero costumes. Like, I think it works so well.
Like a lot of people were saying that they didn't like it because it was too what is it, Mego-ish. I was like, well, I mean, if you've seen Mezco, you know what you're getting. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like feety pajamas, but
like the
it's
the Superman, like that's what Superman looked like. He looks
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
and that Dr. Fate figure was bananas.
oh, fantastic.
My only problem was that the head didn't move, basically.
Because of the neck peg system for the light up.
They
I would have.
changed that now, though.
What'd you say?
Well, I mean, they can change it. Like the sod
Yeah.
cutter, totally different scenario.
And that's the only thing that figure suffers from.
Yeah, that was it. And then this was my my main Mythic Legions display. But you can see I've got like two little Vitruvian Hacks figures that I thought kind of fit. I had a custom. This is like a Scorched Earth LaCroix's Toys 3/7. I'm moving my mouse as if you can see it. This Pythona. So the Pythona character from the G.I. Joe movie from 1987, which they didn't make a figure for in the original line. This is a custom figure that I thought fit in there well. I got the Squidhead Fred, Wolf King head over here on the original Baron Voligar, Mondo Merman. So like it's a Mythic Legions shelf.
Yeah. No, I dig it. I dig it.
Oh,
Yeah,
even
I let you have the Game of Thrones dragons up there too.
Yeah,
Yeah. I love those dragons, dude. I got a bunch of them on clearance. I picked up. I must have bought like 4 or 5 of them on clearance at Ross. They were like $10 a piece. It was so awesome.
So that's it's those guys, and this is just one corner. All the stuff is still there except all the toys on the top shelves aren't there anymore. But you can see my little Transformers all the way on the top right. As far as modern Transformers, it's basically mostly just the movie stuff.
Yeah.
And then Star Wars is just a mix of all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah. I like that. I like that old carrying case, that Darth Vader carrying case. I remember that back in the day.
That's a childhood original. You can see there's a childhood original R2-D2 in the front there.
Nice.
So,
damn, I wish, dude. I wish I had some of that old stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's a childhood original Dragon Walker. Master down there, and there's one of my lights that fell down from the top.
That's freaking awesome, dude.
I used to use these just from Walmart, the remote controlled lights, but I used to use these panels, and they're way too heavy. Like they come with like a thing where you can stick them like on the underside of the shelf there, but like after a while they just fall down. So I've been using pucks now more recently.
Yeah, I was doing the puck thing for a lot of years. I've tried so many different types, and it's just like what I always tripped out on, and I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's just my luck, but the puck systems that I have that I've used for some of my shelving, I don't know why. Like the batteries like just die on them, and each one of them takes like 4 batteries, and it's like. And I don't even light them up unless I come into my room and I'm trying to, like, let's say, show off the room, so to speak. So
Yeah.
I want to light everything up. So I'll click them on then. But then once I'm done, I'll click them back off. But then I go maybe a couple weeks later to turn them on, and half of them are dead. And I'm like, why did the batteries die? They're not even being used. I mean, I'm like, why are the batteries draining out of these? And I fill them all with brand new batteries. And you know how expensive batteries are.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like after a while, I'm like, screw these pucks. It's either I'll light it with natural lighting in the room, or I'll add a cable of LEDs to run, in throughout the thing. And that's what I've done with most of my stuff, just LED like bands. Yeah, the strip. Yeah, the strips, like the stuff that I use for like my detolfs and stuff. I'll just light up shelves with that.
Yeah, I see a lot, if not most people I see are using more like the LED strips. I haven't used it. Maybe that's because the pucks. The thing is, like when it's time to change the battery, it's almost like I might as well just buy a couple of new sets and put them up, and that's a
yeah.
But so that's that. Oh, I did want to give myself a quick shout out. I did my latest review. I did put it up. I got this guy right here.
Does he have double jointed elbows?
What's that?
Double jointed elbows?
Double jointed elbows, my friend.
Oh man, I should have bought that figure.
Dude, it's so good.
How's the head sculpt, the Brandon Lee head sculpt?
I think it's really good. I mean, I don't know how well you can see on the camera here, but like it's a painted face, so they get a little bit of a
No, it looks good, dude. That definitely does look good.
Yeah, the hands can get a little bit finicky. It's got like an avalanche of accessories. It's got so much.
Oh yeah, I can imagine, dude.
But I wanted to plug that review because.
Oh, by the way, plug away, dude. We are live on your channel. You do
right?
whatever you want to
do. So he showed up. This is an awesome figure. This Crow figure showed up the day after Christmas, and then like a day or two later, the 5-point set showed up too.
Oh, nice.
So, and I haven't gone too far into the 5-point set, which is sort of like Mezco's, take on like Reaction, where, Reaction and like the Star Wars Retro Collection is kind of like additional characters that are in the Star Wars style, basically. This is like Mezco saying that, okay, we'll take 5 POA, but we'll do it like in a modern style. So modern detail, modern paint, stuff like that, but still 5 POA. And they're doing stuff now. So when this first got solicited, the Crow, come on, John, the Crow 5 points, I could see that like they had him, like the solicitation photos had him in like positions that a 5 POA figure typically can't get into. So I'm like, are they doing some kind of weird articulation now where it's still 5 POA? So no. So what they did was they give you 2 figures in the set. So there's 2 figures and they have swappable limbs. Come on, John, Jesus. So the heads are swappable. You can swap the heads between them. And then one of them comes with swappable legs. The other one comes with swappable arms. So you can get like the different poses just from that part of it. So I thought that was really cool. So the review is for both the 1/12 Crow and the 5-point set.
Nice.
I had to battle through this review, man. I got to be honest with you, just because I wasn't feeling great, but I wanted to get it out. And like I had it in my head that I wanted to get it out. So I'm real happy with the way it came out. I worked real hard on it. So
yeah, I was gonna ask when you brought up this photo, because I didn't know. I was gonna ask, okay, that's the Mezco 1/12. I was gonna say, does he come with these 2 little extra figures like to put on display with them, along with that burning, the burning crow insignia thing? I was gonna ask about that, but I didn't realize that those are actual action figures you got. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like it's two different sets, but he comes with a ton of stuff. Like the 1/12 Crow comes with the guitar, the gravestone, 2 different ravens with like wires so they can go perch on the stand and look like they're flying.
Nice.
He comes with a handgun, a revolver, a shotgun. The magazines are removable. The shotgun pump works. A lighter, a knife, a sword, the weather vane. The jacket is removable. Like it's
that's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Say what you want about not liking soft goods. I will say this: Mezco absolutely kills it with all of their accessories.
Yeah.
And they
I'll have to agree. Even though, I mean, like I said, even though I only have like 5 or 6 Mezcos in my entire collection, that is a true statement, man. That the soft goods are amazing.
and I say this in my review too, is that Mezco, again, they're known for, just like you said, soft goods, tons of accessories. I don't think they get enough credit for their articulation. Now,
No.
Ryan, you mentioned
No.
does it have the double jointed arms? It does. And the thing about Mezco figures is they move, they're so smooth. Like,
Yeah.
and they move into almost any position you want. They're so smooth. You never have to apply heat. They tell you do not apply heat as a
That's
matter
a
of
big thing.
to
Yeah.
them. The only thing Mezco does is sometimes they'll sacrifice a point of articulation because Mez wants a certain look or like a feature, like a light up feature. You know what I mean? So they'll like the one thing I'll say about him is that there's not really an ankle rocker to speak of, like there's a twist or whatever, and you get a little bit of movement, but nothing at the ankle itself. And obviously, I think that's because they would have had to have a cut there, and he just didn't want to cut there.
Right.
So that'll limit some of the poses that you want,
Yeah.
but overall, it does what you need.
But I mean, he wasn't like Bruce Lee doing martial arts in all of his movie, like that kind of
Right.
articulation. Like he was a guy who would show up, punch you in the face, kick, like smack you around a little bit, and obviously kill you in the movie. But it wasn't like he was doing like spinning triple kicks and backflips and stuff like that. So I do get it, because I think it was the MDX Joker, the ankle rocker. I believe it was on The Amazing's review of Two-Face. The ankle rocker was about the same as that.
Yeah.
But when you got Two-Face, they actually made it so you could get that little extra leg spread while keeping the feet flat.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that's and you've got it exactly. That's the one issue, that if you try to get him spread out too far,
Yeah.
he'll stand there, but his feet aren't going to be flat. And sort of side note, since I had this in while I was working on the review yesterday morning, I threw on the movie, which I hadn't watched in a long time.
Yeah.
I still
Nice.
love that freaking movie. Like, if as a child of the '90s, like it's still like there's parts of it that are like hardcore. The soundtrack is crazy.
Oh yeah.
I love the whole idea of him coming back to avenge. It's dope. My wife won't even watch it because she's like, she doesn't like the idea that like he died in making of the movie, which I get.
Yeah.
But like, to me, I don't know if it would hold up if you saw it for the first time now.
Yeah.
To me, I still love that movie.
Hell yeah. Love The Crow, dude.
Great movie.
Fire it up.
Those guys are nuts, dude. Like,
Yeah.
talk about some bad guys that are these are fucking bad guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just
Like, they're
do bad shit just to do bad shit.
Yeah. All right, so I grabbed some of these pictures just because we did have some Legions news this week I wanted to ask you guys about, and that was that Cosmic, which was scheduled for approximately first quarter spring 2023. Looks like it's getting bumped back now to more like June-ish, July. I got to be honest with you, I kind of was thinking June, July anyway, just because of the way things have gone the last couple of years, and I'm fine with it. I'm still pumped for Cosmic. It doesn't bother me at all that it was getting bumped to the summertime because, again, I sort of was thinking that way anyway. It's a brand new line. Everything's freaking brand new.
Mhm.
But coupled with the news that that's getting bumped back was that AS6 is AS6 or is this 5?
5.
5, sorry. AS5 is getting bumped up
Yeah.
to Q1 2023.
Yeah.
So we're going to get these pretty soon. Like, that's
Yeah.
freaking cool, man.
Yep. Yeah, that's going to be amazing. Like I said, and with the delays or the bumps in time, for the upcoming waves or what have you, Cosmic. You know what? I mean, if you've been in this game for as long as we have, or even if you're relatively new to it, you start learning real fast. I mean, the wait time is what it is, and like I said, if there's delays, it's just the stuff's coming. It's not. I totally don't even think about any of this stuff until it actually shows up at my doorstep. Once I order it, I just completely forget about it. Literally, there's I don't even know how much I have on order in the next like 3 pre-orders between Cosmic, AS5. I know I got a huge order coming of the tactics figures, you know what I mean? Like, but I totally forgot what I ordered. I totally forgot. Like, so everything that I open up is going to be a complete surprise to me. Like, oh man, like I got this and I got that, and I ordered 10 of these. You know what I mean? Like, I'm totally going to be blown away by it. So like, it's just like I said, as far as a delay or you know, being like, oh, we can't make this timeline, we're gonna have to kind of push it forward. That totally fine with me.
Yeah. And I'll say this: I am. With that being said, I'm a Horseman cuck.
Yeah.
And I am 100% okay with them pushing it back if that means we get super quality figures and not rushing it.
Right.
Take all the time you need.
Yeah,
absolutely. The Horsemen have never let me down.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, it's not like, I don't know, man. Somebody mentioned it. I forget who came up with the notion that like once you get into the cycle, you know, the pre-order lag time, whatever you want to call it, is not a big deal after that, because to me there was no shortage of new Legions figures in my house for 2021.
No.
But Eric, to your point you were talking about earlier, as far as like, you know, cooling out on ordering so much stuff, and Ryan, you sort of said something like the same thing, is that once I started, you know, doing all-ins for Legions, I did like a bunch in a row, and I was like, I don't need to go all in every single one. You know what I mean? Plus, I like buying figures in person at the shows. That's probably I'd rather do that, to be honest with you. That's more fun.
Yeah.
To like buy it and talk to Jim or Eric or whoever's there.
Yeah.
Or Bill or whoever's there. And then like AS5 was like the first one. I was like, yeah, I'll probably just order I'll order like 1 or 2 of these. And then, like, you know, when I see, I'll check them out at a con, and I'll get some then. And if I don't have a chance, I don't. No big deal. I've got tons of stuff. I still went all in. I got an all in of the All Stars too. But
yeah,
now that it's coming soon, I'm pumped about it.
Yeah, the All Stars actually is funny. Thinking about the All Stars 5 order, I actually passed on a lot of the figures because I already had them. So it was kind of like one of those All Stars waves where I was like, oh, cool. Like I already had see, who do we have coming out in this?
Romulus.
Romulus, I already have him.
Is it him, the yellow demon.
Yeah. Azar I don't have. So that was one of the ones I got. I got the skeleton. I didn't have him, but the other ones I was able to pass on because I had already had them, and I was like, oh, cool. Like I don't need those figures. I've already had each one of those figures in my collection. So it's like for a lot of people, it's cool because they're getting to finally get a hold of these older figures and that are really hard and expensive to come by. But you know, for someone that's had them in their collection, I'm like, oh, this is kind of a cool way where I was actually able to, instead of, you know, offset the cost of it, I could utilize that money to freaking get these new builders that they put out, which are amazing, dude. It's freaking to get new figures like this.
Yeah, because like for somebody like me, is like I don't have a lot of these older figures.
Yeah,
I don't have Azar. Sorry.
Yeah.
Great one, and like that's another thing for me. Like with my collection, a lot of it is nostalgia, but especially for new stuff, what speaks to me is like metallics, bright colors, right? So like the idea of like, I know this, some people don't like Azar because he's a bright yellow banana, right?
Yeah.
I love the fact that he jumps off a freaking shelf. I was hoping he was going to make the cut. I was so happy he did. So I'm pumped to get this guy.
Oh yeah. Definitely a cool figure to have. I mean, especially, you know, one of the very more important characters to the storyline as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, to me, he's almost like an Otho to have in your collection. Like where if you didn't get him in the very beginning, getting him, you know, these days before AS5 was almost like unheard of, unless you were willing to pay, you know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars for him, which was like, oh man, that's a downer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, and you're right though. Like you said, the fact that they're packaging it now, not just with the tribute figures, which I know people are up and down on those too. I love them because Motu was one of my main things growing up. So
Oh yeah.
But the fact that we get these new figures,
Oh yeah.
Iranian Guard, I freaking can't wait for this figure. I'm pumped about this one.
Yeah. I got multiples of that one. That's for sure. And that Dubon and the horses. Oh man, just another horse. Yeah.
Dubon, I'm pumped about.
So super pumped on that figure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks so good.
Like he's basically like me as an old man. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
It's a cross between you and Michael Xavier. I see.
Xavier.
Beard already. Yeah. On me.
Yeah, but the soft goods on that, the new parts, I mean, it's just like it's freaking awesome.
And then what is that? Trevor's photo wasn't that Dubon on
the horse? Yeah.
So I got to recreate that for sure.
So dope, yeah.
What is it Trevor says where he's basically putting himself down? It doesn't translate well.
They look better in hand than the
like, dude, what is he talking about? His pictures are phenomenal.
The photos don't do it justice. Yeah.
People say that trying to like explain to people how good they are in hand. You know, it's not supposed to be a backhanded thing because Trevor's pictures are fucking phenomenal. Like,
fantastic,
they're amazing.
Dude, you know what's funny when you look at, I'm actually looking. I don't know if you guys have you guys put up your calendars yet? I already have mine up. Yeah.
I didn't have mine
right here.
Yeah, I hung mine on my wall right behind on my desk right behind my computer. It's hanging there. Looking at Trevor's photography, it's like to me it's almost like, I don't know if you were old enough, Ryan, but to me, it's one of those things that it's a throwback to me, and it's a nostalgia grab for me because it reminds me of the old, like the old catalogs, the old catalogs from the big department stores that had the toy sections in them, where you could see the newest, like the G.I. Joes or Star Wars or the He-Man Masters of the Universe action figures that were going to be upcoming and on sale at these stores. And they would have these amazing like diorama displays and stuff. And it would be like G.I. Joe on one of the boats, like next to a river. And it would be like the whole water diorama and the sand. And you'd see the bushes and the palm trees. And, you'd have, and it was like, it's one of those things that as a child, like looking at stuff like that, it drew so much more inspiration on what you were going to do with those action figures when you brought them home. And that's kind of like where Trevor's, his artwork or his vision of what he does with these figures is totally a heartstring puller for me, because it's like, that's what you imagine in your mind, like what these figures or what these characters would be doing, or what it would look like in a world where they're, in motion and doing their thing. It's like, and it's so cool to like see stuff like that just come to life, man. So cool.
Totally. It's funny you should mention that. Number one, I remember that from being a kid, and especially like whenever they would have like a scene set up and it was either outdoors or it was like a setup scene that looked like it was outdoors.
Yeah,
that always spoke to me.
Yeah, like the old Sears catalogs and stuff like that, or the J.C. Penney catalogs. It was, you had to go into one of those big department stores where they had the catalogs, or you could like have one, mail order to your house, and you would have the catalog. And I would literally like sit in my room, like laying on my bed for hours at a time, just looking at the pages of like the different action figure setups. And it was basically because it wasn't just a picture of an action figure. It was a picture of a collection of action figures, like in like a diorama that was like, focused on what they were doing. It was so cool. I always thought that was the coolest thing.
So one recommendation I got for you, if you haven't seen it yet. So one thing on the Dork Lair podcast now / YouTube lives that Bill does for the holidays now every year, is they pick out one of those old catalogs and go through it.
Oh,
so
man.
The last two, if you go to the Dork Lair YouTube channel, I think it's the last two lives, they actually went through a Sears catalog.
Oh, yeah.
Half and half, because one of the hosts, Larry, couldn't be there a couple of weeks ago. So if you have some time and you just want to throw something on in the background while you're working on your shelves or something like that,
Yeah.
go on the last 2 Door Claire lives from the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Go through one of those old Sears catalogs.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Yeah, we used to have I mean, like I said, we had Sears, JC Penney's and stuff like that. But we used to have one of my favorite ones was we used to have a store. It was an old a store called Best. Best, and it was weird because they were what they were most well known for, which aside for they were almost like a Walmart or like a Gemco, if you remember Gemcos. They were kind of like those stores, but one of the things that they were most known for, because they were nationwide, was they had these weird buildings that they were in. Like they were buildings that were like the architecture was like some crazy like thing that they did with the architecture on their buildings. But aside from that, their catalog in particular, the Best catalog, was one of those ones that, like I said, I would remember every year, every holiday season, when it came to Christmas, we would go down, and I remember and they gave them for free, and they were thick ass catalogs because they obviously had like, you know, hardware stuff or kitchen appliances and stuff that you could shop or get throughout the store. But in the tail end of the catalog, the very end of the catalog was the toy section, and they had these amazing like photo, ops of the figures that they had, or the lines that they were selling in their stores. And I just remember how detailed and how cool the diorama work and the photography work was, just to like kind of get that on their catalog pages. It was so cool.
Sliding through here. Ilgar's come in. Lady, what's her name? Lady Averona?
Yeah, I think so,
I'm
yeah.
excited for this one. I just
Yeah.
love the darker
Yeah.
take on who was that? Faustia? Or
Yeah.
no, Adriana.
Adriana.
I see
Yeah.
Adriana. Yeah.
And then, for all your swig needs, make sure that you have your potion bottles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then
That's-
the Treats and Romulus.
Yeah, Romulus. Yeah, like I said, Romulus I had already, and it was just like, okay, that's an easy pass for me, because I just, it was like the what was everybody at after on the last one was the Black Knight, when the Black Knight got re-released. Like I had
happy.
yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people had never had a Black Knight in their collection, and that was one of the Black Knight was probably one of maybe the first 20 figures I got when I started collecting Mythic Legion. So I paid like, I don't know, I might have paid like $60 or $70 for him. He was a little bit older, and he was already going up in price, but I only paid like $60 for him. So I was like, oh dude, I've had Black Knight forever. So that was one of the few that I didn't order on that wave.
Dude,
yeah.
Black Knight wasn't on my radar until Legions Con right after COVID. What was that?
2021?
Yeah. So Steph Delator,
Yeah.
he had a Guts like custom, and I was like, I have to have it, so I need a Black Knight.
Yeah.
And I went searching, and the aftermarket prices were kind of insane. So when they announced that they were putting that out, I was all over it.
Yeah. No, like I said, I appreciate that. I mean, just like Romulus. I mean,
Yeah.
that's an amazing freaking figure, dude. So I'm so stoked that people that have never had him in their collection are going to be able to add him to the collection. I mean, that's a super dope figure. But like I said, that's one of the ones, I mean, I've had from almost day one, that I've always had him. So it was like, okay, cool. That's one I could totally check off the list that I don't need. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but then there's somebody like me who doesn't. So
I don't either.
Get him now.
No, super pumped that you guys are going to get him. Super pumped.
And
Dude, go ahead.
I was just going to say that there's some old ones. Like there's a difference between getting a reissue and getting like the original. Like there's only so many of the originals that it would mean a lot to me to have the original. Like having an original, because they're going to reissue Otho at some point, right? They're going to do a version 2.
I can't wait.
Which I'll get that one. But having an original Otho is something that would be cool to me. Like that's one of the old ones that eventually I might, write that check or whatever and get one. But Romulus is not one that I need the original version. Like,
Okay,
I'm
dude.
good
I'll
with
go
the-
get you. All right.
Like
so
the
Alright.
Gideon V2, like I have the version 1.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean I'm going to get rid of it. I would like to have both.
yeah.
And just like Otho, I mean, we've all heard the story. We beat that dead horse so many times, but when they put out the V2, I'll get the V2. I'm
Oh,
not going to
yeah.
love the first version any less.
No. And like I said, they're the ones that are, I mean, another one that I'm super, super pumped to have, and I know I would never own it any other way, are the version 2s of, what is it? God damn it. The Gorgo and
Yeah.
Attila 2-pack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should be shipping.
Yeah, and
Anyway.
that's part of the tactics wave, and having those 2 figures. I mean, I would, and look how important those 2 figures are to the storyline, especially Gorgo. It's like, oh man, like that's so cool, and now getting these 2.0 versions, I could totally give a shit about not owning the first versions. Now I'm like, before I was like, oh, that sucks that I'm not going to be able to add those to my collection because I mean, it's not. I mean, it's just like, okay, like. If you're going to have the collection, I mean, you should at least have the main important characters. I mean, especially as important as those 2 characters are to the story. But now knowing that I'm going to get the 2.0 version, I'm super pumped, man.
How many
Super pumped.
2-packs did you guys get?
I just
For
got one.
you just got one?
I think I got maybe 2 or 3. I know I got 2. I might have gotten a third.
Nice.
Yeah. Because that and there again. That's another thing. Like I said, after the last couple of years, I really started to realize how much back order product I have coming.
Mhm.
Where I'm like, going forward, I've made a financial decision to kind of cut the trend of constantly buying, and now utilize what I have coming as basically my trade bait to get what I want. So, because there's going to be plenty of stuff that I have that other people don't have, that in the next upcoming waves that they've pre-ordered because they're either new to the line or just getting started in collecting Mythic Legions or whatnot. I mean, there's going to be plenty of stuff that I'll have for other people to want or be able to trade.
All right, I got to sign off pretty soon, guys. But before I did, it is New Year's Eve, so this is the last day of 2022. So I did want to ask you the question: legions or non-legions? Is there something out there that you're most anticipating for the coming year, 2023, as far as a new wave, a new figure, anything at all? And I can go first if you guys want to think for a second.
By all means.
This is pretty like the number one. I mean, Cosmic is the obvious answer. You know what I mean? But I think it would have, and I am super pumped about it, and I think that's going to be a game changer. But I think it's the Poxus wave for me. That people were talking about, like when it's going to kind of come out next year, and I think right now we're talking like maybe third, fourth quarter. My first initial reaction was like, nah, we won't see that stuff till the next year after that. But then I realized that pre-order was a year ago now.
Yeah.
So there's a really good chance that estimate is accurate, and we actually have Poxus in hand, that we get the whole Cosmic wave 1, and the whole Poxus wave in hand before the end of 2023. And I'm pumped about both, but I guess it's the Poxus wave because I'm into the wizards, all the accessories, and maybe the one figure I'm most excited about is probably Arakagor, the big.
Oh yeah,
that's probably on my list.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, my biggest, I guess you'd say like my anticipation and my it's definitely, mine is definitely Cosmic because it's so new, and I mean the characters and the new body styles and the new, I mean everything. It's just, I mean there's so much great stuff to it, and it's cool to see something that's speaking such scope to a type of genre like the space or science fiction genre that's beyond what anybody else has seen done yet. You know what I mean? It's almost like being part of, you're watching the creative process of a new Star Wars in a sense. Because I mean, as cool as Cosmic is, I mean, we're only thinking in action figure scales. I look at something like Cosmic. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm seeing the next Star Trek and the next Alien series or the next Star Wars series. Like that's how nostalgic I think that those characters are going to become and the storyline behind it. Because I think Four Horsemen Studios, to be honest, I think they're going to go on a way larger scope with something like this. I mean, maybe like a Netflix animated special or a full featured movie. You know what I mean? With these characters, I mean, this is not something to just be kind of thrown to the waste. You got to look at the detail and the the way these things are being made. It's just amazing. Like, I mean, like the Mythic Legions, I mean, they're into themselves. They're amazing figures, but obviously they have ties to like old knights or like old barbarian movies. You could go, oh, that's kind of like, the Conan the Barbarian, and that's like, the this or that movie or whatever, or the Robin Hood Knights of the, it's like one of those things where you can like tie it into with Cosmic. It's something so brand new. It's like when, in 1977, Star Wars came to the screen, and you're just like, what is this whole new world of like characters and creatures and a storyline of Jedi Knights, and what is this stuff? I mean, that to me, that's how Cosmic is speaking to me. So the anticipation is huge right now for myself for 2023 to finally get those figures in hand and just start just being amazed by this stuff.
Yeah, just going off that real quick, you bring up a good point, because who knows what these guys have cooking up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like they're thinking outside of the box in ways that we haven't even thought of yet.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah.
The books are already coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like basically like George R. Martin, not Game of Thrones style, but like Fire and Blood, that type of thing.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like the Mythic Legions books are going to be like. Almost like a history book written in that sort of a history book written in a narrative-ish type of sense.
Yeah.
So the books are already coming. They're at least talking about whether or not to do other stuff, whether that's, and somebody's going to make them an offer if they haven't already many times over, whether it be an animated series or a special or a mini series. Can you imagine like a mini series, like Cosmic Legends mini series, bro?
Yes, I could. Yes, I could, man. And like I said, I mean, dude, look at all the anime series and stuff that are on Hulu, Netflix, all that stuff. I mean, you're going to tell me that Mythic Legions or Cosmic Legions told in that that form is not going to catch an audience or attract an audience or a whole new fan base?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about for these guys. I mean, they want to sell the figures. So how do you put that voice out there in the market, even on a grander scale outside of, toy collectors like ourselves? How do you get more people interested in the line? That's a series, a book, a series, a movie. You know what I mean? That's all part of it, man.
It's funny, like in the toy collecting community, the way that Mythic Legions has sort of developed has probably been very beneficial, right?
Yeah.
It's not tied to any, while it takes its inspirations, you're right, from like fables and folklore and all this stuff throughout the ages. It's not tied to a specific narrative or movie or show from years ago that people can get pissed off and argue with each other about.
Right.
This doesn't fit or whatever.
Right.
It's an open-ended story with a little bit of background. There's nothing to argue about. You know what I mean? So I think that's really worked to the benefit of the line, is it's so open source, for lack of a better term. But I mean, they're filling in some of those gaps. The books are going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So whether it might be 5 years down the road or more maybe, but I would find it hard to believe that at some point there's not going to be a cartoon or a mini series or a movie or something else.
Oh, mark my words, dude. Mark my words. Freaking Eric said it. Freaking December 31st of 2022 that something's going to be it's going to happen, dude. It's going to happen. It has to. And it's gonna be just as amazing as everything else that they've done. So,
All right, I'm going to put Ryan on the spot and ask him. But before I do, last question for you, Eric, on the cosmic thing. Is there one figure that's a standout that you're most excited about?
definitely one of them is Novian Lean,
Mhm.
the like reptilian looking, kind of armored dude. That's like he's kind of like a battle guy. I don't know. It's just that figure is just amazing. Not only just the figure in itself, which is a beautiful figure, but the options or the customizability of his armor and that he comes with, and the option to swap different types of head into that armored suit, whether it be like a humanoid style or another alien style figure or head sculpt. And that's another thing that's a big anticipation, is all the new parts that are going to be coming out of all of our from our great friends and artists that own our 3D companies, 3D printing studios. It's just I can't even imagine the ridiculous amount of brand new awesome parts that are going to be coming from these studios and the people that are sculpting and stuff. It's gonna be awesome. So yeah, Novi and Lean is definitely my my biggest anticipation.
Cool. What about you, Ryan?
So I do have one, but I have an honorable mention. And so my number one is Cosmic Legions. For Eric took everything that I was going to say, because that guy, he's a great guy. So Cosmic Legions for sure is my number one, but my honorable mention is Animal Warriors of the Kingdom Wave 1.
Oh yeah,
I can't wait for that too.
That's gonna be awesome, dude. So awesome.
So, all right, anything you guys wanted to bring up? I got some family stuff to get to, but I wanted to.
No, I'm good, man. I just wanted to wish everybody out there, and especially you two dudes, a happy New Year's, and let's hope for a prosperous and safe and healthy 2023, and it's just going to be awesome to, like I said, to have you guys around and just, like I said, enjoy times like this and conversations that, like I said, mean more to me than any action figure that I hold in hand. You know what I mean?
100%, man. And I did want to say before we cut off too, I'm so happy we started doing this, man. I enjoy these conversations so much. I can keep going for hours and hours and hours, but
yeah, dude,
you got to balance all the people in your life. So
yeah, for sure.
I want to say thanks everybody for stopping by and hanging out. If you hung out, like Kevin, he hung in there. I appreciate each and every one of you coming in, and dude, I need to see more of those reviews, man. Yeah. And you need to start plugging them here. Plug them all. Plug it the whole damn time, dude.
Plug away, bro. Plug away.
Well, I got the Crow reviews up right now. Please check it out. Share it. I want to get some buzz with it if I can. And then as soon as I can get to it, I'm still going to do my top 10 of the year. It'll post sometime, probably next week sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
So we'll see. Happy
Love
New Year.
hanging out with you guys.
Happy New Year's, guys. You guys take care, man.
Later.
Take it easy.